Welcome to Chinese Novel Audiobook. 21. This chapter will be deleted immediately, please don't worry about it. A night of partying. During the day, Eugene went to the bank to open an account. By the way, Eugene rented a private room in Orario's top mansion. Although there is something wrong with bringing a girl home when you first meet her. But inviting three beauties with different styles back together at once is a skill worth showing off. To celebrate our meeting tonight. Wow. Romani 30 years old. Meow haha. The boss is awesome. Koroi and Noroa, who live off bounties, have seen a bit of the world. For Eugene, without saying a word, he opened this kind of wine, which is exclusive to nobles and even loved by gods, and his favorability level increased even more. Those chambers of commerce and gangs that they have cooperated with in the past are not from Kuoko Soso. The pickup is always in the streets. It's so hard to find a restaurant, and I don't even want to invite customers. I can't wait to snatch food from their mouths. But Eugene has no such burden at all. No matter how many there are, dozens of it makes no difference to him. Why care about it? Cheers, in unison. After 3 rounds of drinking, everyone lay down casually in the splendid hall, on the thick wool carpet, and the cups and plates were in a mess. Well, seeing the 2 girls who were so drunk that they were already moaning with silly smiles on their faces and almost taking off their clothes to reveal their beauty, Lou frowned and sighed helplessly. Her bottom line is that she really can't accept this kind of thing. It was like this in the store before. Whenever everyone has a holiday, they drink all kinds of meat and vegetables. She would always cover them with quilts silently and clean them up alone. Don't worry. Eugene, who also had some blush on his face, stood up slowly. I ordered room service, and a professional nanny will come to help them wash up soon. You should go to bed soon too. After that, he loosened his shirt, revealing a large area of strong muscles, and stood up to go out. You don't sleep here. Liu didn't drink much, but her face still turned pink. A man's night has just begun. Eugene blinked angrily. Today's fun was too vegetarian, so I still need some meat to make it more interesting. Lou didn't understand what this guy had in mind. But finally we don't have to spend the night together. Sleeping in the same room as the man she met on the first day, even if they were separated by a door, she would be so awkward that she couldn't sleep all night. Haha, you will be lucky now. Later you will regret why you didn't get drunk and fall asleep. Eugene once again saw through Liu's little thoughts. He took small, cheerful steps and pushed the door open under the gaze of the elf girl. Following Eugene's back, he took a few steps forward. Before the door was closed, Liu saw Eugene's so-called extra meal event. What he held in his arms was a beautiful young girl with hot lines, enchanting posture, unusually bold clothes, and sexy wheat-colored skin. That's the Amazons. Liu recognized the race of the passionate girl. The Amazon clan is a daughter country in another world. As everyone knows about the Kingdom of Girls, not only are its members all girls, but all its children are girls. No matter what kind of alien race they are, they have not been able to conquer the wild genes of the Amazon female warriors. For a group that cannot reproduce itself, it has become custom and instinct to plunder high-quality males from outside. Over time, Amazon has developed its own unique concept. Naturally beautiful, they decided to follow their primitive desires. In Orario, because of their outstanding combat power and unique unrestrained style. Known as fighting Changfu. You can make money during the day and you can make money at night. The truth is that we understand it alive. This guy. Liu is not a girl who doesn't understand anything. She had heard many stories about Amazon women. Although she despised Eugene's pursuit of pleasure, she had no intention of stopping him. Men are still really dirty in nature. If you die in bed, no one else will be blamed. Muttering secretly, the elf girl closed the door forcefully. The following is Lu's resume number of words. The main story first appears in the Rich Hostess Tavern. Helped Belle, who was innocently punished, wash the dishes together, and told Belle about the upgrade. When Belle reached level 2, he celebrated with Seal and others with Belle and others, and advised Belle not to go to floors after the 13th floor. In the 5th volume, in order to rescue Belle and others who were in crisis due to the monster's gift, he joined the search and rescue team at the request of Hermes. Belle accidentally got lost and bumped into Liu taking a bath and almost shot Belle in the head. Rarely told Belle about his past, and went to lay flowers for his fallen companions. He said that Belle was a respectable human being and took the initiative to hold his hand. On the second day on the 18th floor, he rescued Belle and Lefiya who were suddenly attacked by the Dark Faction. After interrogating the Dark Faction, they obtained the Eye of Daedalus. The next day, he and Asfi al-Andromeda attacked the mutant floor master, Black Goliath, on the 18th floor to buy time, and then successfully killed it with Belle and other 500 adventurers. In the 6th volume, Hermes once again asked him to be a foreign aide to help the Hestia Familia in the war game. As a vanguard in the siege, he attacked first with Crozo's magic sword. After using the magic sword, he single-handedly dealt with 50 members of the Apollo Familia. They captured 2 dark sect leaders who fled into the forest, and recognized their clothes as those used to kill their fellow clan members. However, when they were about to question them, the 2 prisoners were killed by a sudden alien species. Due to multiple requests for leave, Mia Tuoxie informed her that Ruo Lu hoped to resign from her job and transfer to another dependent family. In Volume 11, in order to help Belle and others, the Eye of Daedalus obtained previously was given to Belle. Subsequently, after accepting Haruhim's level upgrade in the city, he temporarily gained LV.5 ability value, and stayed alone to challenge Sword Princess, stalling for Belle's time, and ultimately lost. In the end of volumes 12 and 13, he came to the dungeon alone because he was tracking the remnants of the Dark Faction. Due to the conspiracy of the remnants of the Dark Faction, he and Belle were taken into the deep layer 37th floor together with Belle in a seriously injured state. In the 14 volumes, because of the desperate journey with Belle in the deep maze, and because Belle saved himself who wanted to sacrifice himself, he discovered that he had already developed feelings for Belle, and changed his name to Belle. 15-1 avoids Belle, fearing contact with him. Volume 16 shows a complicated psychology towards Zaire's proactive attack. Yu Tan, either by request or out of her own will, she went on many adventures with Belle and others, and also assisted in war games, so she interacted with the protagonist group a lot. Lily thought that the team's defender lacked firepower and needed a defender. She is also the first person to think of her as a magician, and she often appears on the login interface of the mobile game, Memory of Longing, together with the members of the Hestia Familia who are the protagonist group. Similar in appearance to the bard Lulu in The Argonauts, the two have the same voice actor, but their personalities are very different. Lulu's gender is unknown, but it can be seen from the illustrations, gameplay, and anger when Argo calls her flat-chested. Look, it's almost certain that it's a woman. In the web version, Belle is in charge of combat guidance, while in the Bunko version, Ice is in charge. 22 The most beautiful woman in the world. Livilia. The last one was blocked by 555 and it hasn't been released yet. What are you going to do today, Meow? Keep shopping. Boss. How about shopping? Stare. After a night of getting along, the relationship between the girls and Eugene has obviously improved. Although they are all made with sugar-coated bullets. But who doesn't like sugar-coated bullets? At least this man is willing to spend money on women, and he won't touch women as soon as they come up. He also speaks nicely, looks handsome, and has a great figure. Well, I always feel that just being the boss seems a bit of a waste of character. Eugene didn't care at all what the girls were saying. Rather, going one step further is his original intention. If you don't capture their hearts, how can you build a harem, or build your own future empire? Orario is quite big, so of course she can go wherever she wants to have fun. Yeah, long live the boss. Eugene's eyes were endearing, but when he turned around and looked at Liu with a pair of red eyes, he immediately became timid. Sure enough, what you did last night was a bit too much. In order to tease the innocent elf, he specially chose the next room. The result seems to be a bit loud. The impact from a field she had never set foot in made Liu, who was like a blank sheet of paper, suddenly dyed with an extraordinary color. Now, she was feeling extremely ashamed of herself. At the same time, I felt extremely angry at Eugene's actions, whether intentional or unintentional. Damn it, you damn beast. The elf girl who was too shy to speak out could only kick pebbles all the way to vent her anger. What could she say? Are you too fierce? This kind of words makes her think that she might as well be killed. A layer of resentment gathered on the surface of his body, forming a small dark cloud above his head. Haha, it is indeed a bit too much. An iceberg on the surface, but zero defense on the inside. It's also a kind of cute contrast. Ms. Liu, do you care? Eugene stood next to Liu quietly, showing no intention of introspection. Please don't talk to me yet. Lu's voice was cold and her eyes were full of disgust. Yes, it is very exciting. That look of pleasure. Well, it's because he's a very voluptuous person, not because he's physically very voluptuous. Okay, I apologize. I was having so much fun yesterday that I didn't notice your feelings. I promise, I will be gentle in the future. This statement gets weirder the more I say it. Eugene actually felt a little embarrassed. Just as he was about to add something, the two people in front of him turned around at the same time, interrupting the conversation. When did you two become so close? Very suspicious, meow. The tips of Liu's ears suddenly turned redder, and his expression suddenly became less tense. No way. What's the point of having a good relationship with such a lustful maniac? The words were already on Liu's lips. But at this moment, a burst of warm cheers suddenly came from the front, which instantly attracted the attention of several people. Oh, it's Loki's Familia. Is the Loki Familia going on another expedition? It's so reliable. Hey, Mr. Brave, I will come back safely this time too, Lord Finn. We love you. Good guy. With the roaring mountains and tsunami and colorful flags waving, Eugene almost thought he was some kind of extraordinary person. Well, he is indeed a remarkable person. The huge team walked neatly in the middle of the street, with all kinds of high-end equipment shining dazzlingly, and wearing them seemed to make people possess divinity. For the residents of Warario who have experienced the disasters of the Dark Faction, the Loki Familia are their powerful guardians, and the battles they have experienced are worthy of people's trust. Among them, the three elders, who are the core of the family members, are even more popular. Walking directly in front of the team was a slender, blonde and blue-eyed young boy who looked to be only 11 or 12 years old. But he is a genuine LV6 super-class adventurer, with the title of Brave, that is resounding in Warario, and is recognized as the most intelligent and courageous person, Finn Timna. Although he is obviously the weakest little human race in terms of comprehensive attributes, he has relied on his outstanding talent and tenacious perseverance to reach the position of leader of the strongest clan in Warario. Finn, who looks like a Shota but is actually over 40 years old, has experienced what he has experienced. Life is enough to be listed as a chronicle alone. Of course, apart from those experiences, the mature and steady uncle has a good-looking appearance, which has become an important reason for his popularity. In contrast, Changji, Grace Landrock, who is also one of the three elders of the Loki Familia, can only act as a trustworthy senior in the Familia. In this age where looks are valued, dwarves are really not popular. The only tall mother, Mia, also takes the tough route. Speaking of looking at faces. Ah, Lady Riveria. How elegant, how noble. That posture is not inferior to that of a goddess, no, even a goddess. Also at the forefront of the Familia, slightly half a body behind the leader Finn, is a slender, stunning woman. Elf. This is a beautiful term. But when it is used as the name of a race, it seems to lose a bit of spirituality. And in this woman, the lightness and independence from the world reappeared. That noble temperament comes not only from her elven royal bloodline, but also from her tranquility, rationality, and knowledge. The swaying emerald green hair exudes the vitality from the wilderness, while the clear and quiet eyes like emeralds contain the tranquility of the deep forest. Her facial features are like the most beautiful paintings and the most perfect statues, enough to make even the creator obsessed with them. And the elf's reserve draws an invisible boundary between this beauty and the outside world. Wow, I see her again, meow. But Roy's eyes blinked. Even though she was a young girl who was very confident in her own color, she had to be at a disadvantage when facing that celestial woman. The girl has seen more than one beauty with a face comparable to that of a goddess from the upper world. And the woman in front of him was not included. Because she is beyond the gods. Even if such words are spoken, countless people will attack them and scold them for being disrespectful and blasphemous. But even so, she still believed so firmly. In this mortal world, there are still women who are more beautiful than the goddesses, who have a divine aura that mortals cannot imagine, and who want to be relied upon and admired. 9 Demon Queens, Riveria Leo's Alf. One of the 3 elders of Loki Familia, an extremely rare LV6 female adventurer. At the same time, he is also Warario, and even the strongest mage in the entire continent. None of them. Her beauty and strength are the best in the world. If I use a sentence from the Central Plains martial arts to describe it, then it is the most beautiful woman in the world. 23 I am a stinky man who loves to look at beautiful women. Proud. Ace Wallenstein. The most beautiful woman in the world. After Eugene's eyes fell on the gorgeous beauty, they were firmly fixed on her. When tasting a flower, first smell its fragrance and then observe its color. The same goes for appreciating beauty. First, he heard about her talent and beauty, and then witnessed it during a chance encounter. If it exceeds expectations, the happiness it brings will be extremely strong. Eugene is currently in this state. He has not read the original novel. In the animation, this elf wizard doesn't have many scenes. Moreover, most of them appear in the form of being enlightened by elders and encountering such supporting characters when they go out. In this way, the charm is naturally compromised. But when Eugene really came to this world, he understood the simple sentence in the novel, "Beauty beyond God." How can it produce such stunning colors? Beauty, to a certain extent, is actually difficult to distinguish between high and low. At this time, temperament becomes what determines victory or defeat. Born into an elf royal family, he possesses the profound knowledge of a great scholar. He is full of rationality towards the outside world, and full of kindness towards his younger descendants. Noble, knowledgeable, reliable, gentle, maternal. These beautiful synonymous words come together. This creates a beautiful crystallization. Except for Freya, the goddess of love who sits high on the top of the Tower of Babel. In this complicated world, Livilia can definitely be regarded as a unique existence. Even the two most popular heroines of the original work, Sword Princess, Ace Wallenstein, and Blast, Lu Liang, who is beside Eugene. Their beauty is also slightly inferior. For two girls who have not yet completed their transformation, Livilia's temperament is incomparable to them. Well, of course this is not because Eugene has a preference for mature women. She is only 99 years old, which is still considered a young girl for the elf royal family whose lifespan is hundreds or thousands of years, right? Ahem. Someone's eyes are straight. If possible, I would like more than just a straight eye. Eugene didn't say the dirty words. He half raised his hands in a French military salute, still without any reflection. I'm a stinky man. If I don't feel moved when I see a beautiful woman, then that's a problem, right? The three girls all gave him disgusted and helpless looks. Eugene always has a lot of words that are difficult to refute. But that woman is really amazing. Norwa's eyes sparkled when she met her for the first time. Not only beheading men, but also beheading women. Probably the interpretation of a top beauty. As the team progressed, people's attention gradually shifted. The backbone of the huge Loki familia also appeared in people's sight one by one. Twin sisters from the Amazon, the angry snake, Tion Silit, and the great cut, Tiona Silit. At only 17 years old, he already possesses the super strength of level 5. Behind the two of them is a werewolf with silver hair and white clothes, who always has a bad face, Bert Raka, nicknamed the Fierce Wolf. But in his early 20s, he had already reached level 5. If the three elders are the mainstay, then these geniuses who have reached level 5 at a young age are the future of Loki's family. Not long after this expedition, these geniuses lived up to expectations and successfully broke through to level 6. By then, the number of LV6s owned by the Loki familia will reach an astonishing 7. Surpassing the Freya familia in one fell swoop. Of course, as long as they have LV7, their strength is still roughly the same. Oh, it's coming, it's coming. It's Sword Princess. Orario's strongest genius swordswoman, Lord Ace. We love you. You love again. Eugene looked at the stupid fans in the front row speechlessly, saying that they would love each other. Falling in love with each other. But, Ace Wallenstein. The first heroine in the true sense. Her life experience is a mystery, intertwined with countless mysteries, and even the final boss, One-Eyed Black Dragon, is closely related. Her growth experience along the way can be said to be much more important than the main plot experienced by the protagonist. It is said that book fans jokingly claim that Sword Princess Gaiden is the real main plot of Orario. And this talented girl had always maintained the fastest record among adventurers before Wall-Hanging Bell appeared. 1 year is LV1 to 2, 1 year is LV2 to 3, 1 year is LV3 to 4, and 1 year is LV4 to 5. He joined the Loki familia at the age of 8 and reached level 5 in less than 5 years. He was only 13 years old. Genius among geniuses. In the team, there are girls in pure white dresses and light armor, with heroic looks, who are deaf to everything around them. The swaying blonde hair is as beautiful as an angel, and there is no fluctuation in the clear golden pupils. She seemed to have never heard of the hustle and bustle of the mortal world. Compared to Liu, who deliberately kept a distance, Ice felt more like she hadn't noticed. She already has the gorgeous color of a goddess, coupled with the holy gold and snow white, it makes people dare not approach her. It is precisely because of this angelic temperament and the name of Warario's #1 genius that this swordswoman has become the admiration of countless people. But, there is a famous saying that goes well. Longing is the farthest distance from understanding. The celebrity in the eyes of crazy fans is completely different from the one known to acquaintances. Just like the companions of the Loki Familia. After spending time together day and night, they all understood why Icy always showed a completely indifferent attitude. Because of the so-called, naturally stupid, setting. In fact, it is, big heart, and, low emotional intelligence. In our words, this girl is stupid. Ice, who focuses on fighting monsters and leveling up, always spends very little time on daily life. Many people are so sophisticated that they don't even notice it here. Just like now, it's still noisy. The little ears covered by tassel-like blonde hair were stuffed with 2 balls of cotton pulled out of the pillow. Wow, there are so many people. Ice's popularity is really high. And just behind the blonde girl, an elf with long mountain-colored hair and a plump and cute face was looking at the idol, who was walking steadily with stars in his eyes. Lefiya Voridis, the Thousand Fairy, is a mage who can use more than 3 kinds of magic. A standard star-chasing girl, as a fan and friend of Ace, she wants to catch up with her and stand upright by her side. Then the two of them can do this and that together. Hey hey hey. Lefiya almost laughed out loud in her daily fantasy. The strange expression made the people next to him shake their heads. What is this girl doing? Is that the sword lady? Eugene watched with interest. Surrounded by all kinds of gleaming equipment, her clothes are extremely simple, but she still shines with dazzling brilliance. With such a superior presence, it is no wonder that Lefiya and Belle have become the objects of admiration. But, you're not old yet, a bit astringent. The old driver Eugene shook his head sadly. How can JK compare to his wife? 24 hunting humans. Tion and Tiona. Watching the mighty team of Loki Familia go away. Eugene also began to think about the future. Actually, it's because I'm new here. He has never been quite sure where in the timeline he is. Because Nikkei's works like plug settings the most. Therefore, every year, there are branches that can be regarded as major events. However, after learning that this was the second expedition of the Loki Familia, Eugene had an answer in his mind. The day when he came to another world was probably the day when the protagonist Belkrani met his main god, Hestia, the goddess of hearth and fire, and established a family. This is the real beginning of the main story. From then on, 3 days passed, and it was the day when the Loki Familia launched an expedition to the 50th floor of the underground city. In other words, today is the beginning of the story of the heroine sword princess Gaiden. In about 6 days, the Loki Familia will successfully reach the 50th floor. There, they will usher in the first copy of the main storyline. And about 10 days later, when returning from the underground, the Loki Familia accidentally encountered the Monster Feast. A phenomenon in which monsters proliferate in dungeons. The surge happened to be the lifelong enemy of the protagonist Belle, the Minotaur. It was also that day that Ice, Warario's brightest star, rescued Belle, a fledgling newcomer, from a Minotaur attack. Because of his infinite admiration for that beautiful girl, Belle, who was originally mediocre in talent, activated his own 10-fold experience, one-hearted admiration. Since then, the adventure of the legendary hero, anticipated by the gods, has officially begun. It's a standard Japanese-style hot-blooded harem protagonist Asasha. Eugene looked up at the Tower of Babel in front of him, reaching into the sky. The goddess of love, who is overlooking all living beings from the top of the tower, is crazy about Belle's pure soul. Has she already taken action at this time? There is destiny in this world. Eugene, who can still clearly feel the rope of fate to this day, firmly believes in it. The events recorded in the original work will definitely happen. Even gods cannot violate the author's will. Except for Eugene, an outsider, no one in this world can change the established plot. It's like he blackmailed Terry and spawned a whole new storyline. If you want to change the future of the protagonists, then he can only rely on himself. No one can replace this. I'm looking forward to it. Eugene's eyes scanned the crowd. I hope to find an innocent boy with white hair and red eyes among them. As the protagonist's lifelong enemy, he is extremely looking forward to the day when the two meet. Because the meaning behind that is the moment when the devil replaces the hero and reverses the direction of the entire world. However, the battle that day was quite big. Eugene recalls the first time Ace and Belle met. In fact, they were not the only ones present, there was also Bert, the ferocious wolf. The relationship between him and Icy was just a matter of front and back. This also means that if you want to interrupt the beginning of destiny, Eugene needs to block two LV5s at the same time. No matter what, we must improve our strength as soon as possible. After a moment of silence, a cold light emerged from Eugene's eyes. It's time to start hunting adventurers. In order to reach the highest level, this step must be taken. All right, girls. Eugene clapped his hands calmly. Happy times are always short-lived. It's time to get to work. What the hell, meow, I thought I could continue fishing outside. Okay, boss, if you have any orders, just tell me. After complaining for a while, the three of them came over. After the quiet discussion, Ganu from the Somo Familia. Who is the boss's enemy, meow. Livilia who lives in Goblin Bomb's shop. Another woman. Boss, you are going too far. Eugene didn't explain much and responded with a mysterious smile. It's just an errand, don't be followed. Got it, meow. Roy and Noroa smiled at the same time, and deep in their eyes, there was a long-lost eagerness to try. It seems that he has recognized Eugene's identity as the boss in his heart. When the group of people reached a street corner, they naturally parted ways. Is it okay if I just go back like this? Liu looked at Eugene, showing some concern. Don't worry, I promise. Eugene didn't say much. Liu's stance is different from the other two women. Her original intention is still justice. And Eugene doesn't have any extra arrangements for the time being. According to what he said, Liu should just go home first. By the way, Miss Liu. Across the hurried crowd, Eugene and Liu looked back at each other. Thank you for your concern, I'm very touched. Also, remember to keep what happened last night a secret. Liu's cheeks instantly turned crimson. I see. The elf girl disappeared into the crowd as if she was running away. On the other side, in front of the headquarters of the Bacchus Somo family. Miss Haha, you are really discerning. Uncle Ganu, I'm famous for my efficiency. Several adventurers with big muscles and round waists and lewd expressions gathered together and surrounded Nalua in the middle, who couldn't hide her graceful figure even though she was wearing a cloak. They couldn't help but glance at her with obscene eyes. Members of the Somo family have a particularly great need for money for some special reason. The jobs they take are also notoriously miscellaneous, and they fall completely into the category of those with no bottom line, according to Eugene's standards. Because he never refuses anyone who comes, he has no doubts about the tasks that come to his door. Just going to the dungeon to deliver a few boxes of magic potions to someone, for such a simple thing, the reward was extremely generous. It seems that that person is really in a hurry. The leading Catman man licked his lips. If the employer in front of him hadn't offered a high enough price, the construction period would have been too short. He really wanted to find an opportunity to have an in-depth communication with her. Then it's settled. This ornament will guide your path. The fluorescent and shiny exquisite props exude expensiveness everywhere, making the eyes of people in front of them hot. They don't want to let go of any gold coin. Looking at these guys who were blinded by greed and had a look of death on their faces, Nalua had a sneer on her lips. A group of LVL1 scum, she can kill them on the spot with one hand. I don't know what my boss's plans are for finding this group of rubbish. That person's actions are always unpredictable. After Noroa left, the small group headed by Ganu, a man from the cat tribe, immediately began to prepare to leave. However, they have other ideas about the standards given by Chloe. Boss, that woman is really evil. For giving her so much money, you didn't expect us to switch, right? HMPH, you can tell at a glance that this is another young master from nowhere. He went too far after he went to the ground. Ganu weighed the deposit in his hand, grinning from ear to ear. Having been around Orario for many years, they are veterans of making dirty money. Use this money to go to the black market and buy a batch of low-quality products that are short-lived, and you can make half the profit at least. This money makes you happy. As for conscience, that is something only the dead have. In this big dying vat of Orario, the first to die are the good people. Speaking of which, the quantity of goods requested by that woman is quite large. Such a heavy thing, you really need to find someone to share it, right? Several people looked at each other in understanding, and showed ugly smiles at the same time. That Livilia guy, it seems like he hasn't visited her for a long time. Yes, it is natural for seniors to care about their juniors, right? I wonder how much filial piety I will receive from her this time. Comma. 25 poor people, hateful things. Livilia erred. At the same time, in a prop shop on the border between the slums and the street market. Chloe, who is proficient in infiltration, also efficiently found the target designated by Eugene. Livilia erred, that's you. With a scarf covering her face, Chloe appeared silently like a ghost. The oppressive feeling exuded by the leader in level 4 made the little human girl cowering in front of her unable to resist at all. My lord, no, I don't know what you want from Lily. Chloe didn't speak, and evaluated the trembling Lily with various eyes. The girl with curly brown hair, who looks to be no more than 10 years old, is short, but has already grown to a considerable extent, with a slender waist and uneven curves. If it weren't for her shyness, she would be considered an outstanding beauty among the small humans. Will the boss like this? The black cat girl really couldn't see what was so special about Lily. Isn't she just a legal Lolita? What's so strange about her? Isn't this meow capable of controlling Koro? In the blink of an eye, Roy threw away those thoughts, and threw out an accessory. Her voice was cold and emotionless. If you want to leave the Somo Familia, go to XX in the dungeon at XX time. This jewelry will guide you to find the person who can help you. Don't put your hopes in the leader of your clan. His greed is never ending. Even if you make 10 million, you will never be able to leave that hell. And the person you're looking for can help you solve everything. Nalua threw the jewelry away without waiting for Lily to respond. Lord. Lily jumped up from the ground as if in a dream, with an expression of disbelief and confusion. There were so many things she didn't understand. Why does the other party know what I want? Why are you so sure that you will never be able to leave the dependent clan on your own? Why would you help a stranger like this? Thousands of questions were crowded in my throat, and I couldn't even speak. Roy looked at the girl who was so excited that she choked, and couldn't help but cast a sympathetic look. What on earth had she experienced? How much suffering and frustration will a weak and helpless little human girl experience in this world where the strong is supreme? But she still worked hard and didn't make any unnecessary moves. This was also Eugene's order. Chloe's voice returned to coldness, leaving no explanation. If you succeed, no one will be able to bother you again. Remember, this is your only chance to be free. If you miss it, you will never be able to recover. Never turn over. For Lily, this is the darkest nightmare in her life. It was a sentence that was enough to make her despair. For as long as she can remember, she has been trapped in this never-ending abyss, unable to extricate herself. For 5 or 10 years, she had looked forward to people's kindness. But what they got was always ruthless oppression. I definitely will. Call. A cold wind blew. In the blink of an eye, there was no one in front of him. Okay, so strong. The speed of level 4 is beyond imagination. A messenger has such power. So what kind of incredible person is the person behind the scenes? Go, must go. So what if it's a trap? Lily's heart was beating wildly and her lips were trembling. It's all too dreamy. My life is already at the bottom. Nothing could be worse than death. No, rather, if you really want to be bound to this chaotic family for the rest of your life, then it is better to end the rest of your life as soon as possible. The little human girl couldn't wait and forgot about the fatigue she had just returned from the dungeon. Her short shirt couldn't hide the layers of bruises on her delicate skin. But she still hurriedly put away her torn linen robe filled with props, and carried the luggage that was larger than herself and looked quite exaggerated and funny. There are very few protagonists in this world. Lily is not one of them. She is the weakest of the little humans, with no outstanding talents or superb wisdom. Just to survive is to do your best. But the little bit of hope accumulated over many days and nights will always be easily taken away just as it gathers into light. Lily, I hate adventurers. The girl, who was covered in bruises, began to degenerate without knowing when. She used deception, theft, and all kinds of dishonorable means to get revenge on those who had bullied her wantonly. Even if the result is often a beating. But as long as there is a short period of time, those superior guys can feel the same despair as her. That's the best thing. In order to escape from the shackles and oppression of the family members, Lily worked hard to make money while living with this depraved mentality. She didn't know and didn't dare to think about it. Will the body break down first, or the mind break first? When such days become a habit, people will become evil. And she is not far away from that day. Just now. Such an opportunity, like a bolt from the blue, appeared before us without any warning. A person with huge origins and energy would actually condescend to lend a helping hand to a humble little human girl. Incomprehensible and unimaginable. However, I can't help but be crazy about it and have 120,000 expectations. The night is getting darker. In the dark and cold streets, the girl ran with all her strength towards the dungeon. Her eyes reflected the tower that reached the sky. As if that were a sign of new life. Lily had never felt that one day she would be so proactive and energetic. It's different from every day in the past when I was struggling to survive on the road. This time, she didn't even feel tired. The wind roared in her ears, but the girl's skin was hot. Marvelous. The gradual scenery made Lily almost cry. She thought she had shed all her tears, but when the light really came before her eyes, she couldn't control her emotions at all. Hot tears fell rapidly down her cheeks, and Lily didn't even think of raising her hands to wipe them. Her calf muscles ached, and her throat seemed to burst as she gasped. Even though you were running towards hope, you can't help but cry. It's so shameless, me. I have already fallen, but I still shamelessly seek redemption. I have also hurt others, but I am still so anxious to pursue a new life. People like Lily are not qualified to get such a precious opportunity. But his body still flew forward involuntarily. I'm sorry, sir, I have never met you. Please forgive my greed, please forgive my despicability. But even so, I am, as expected, still the same. As expected, I still want to be saved. She finally arrived at the Tower of Babel. For adventurers, that dark entrance symbolizes crisis and death. At this time, it seemed to be the warmest place in the world. Lily smiled heartily. For the first time in her life, she was full of expectations for the future. Boom. The hourly bell rang. There is not much time left before the time agreed by the adult. But if the journey goes smoothly, it will be enough for the girl to arrive on time. If everything goes well. The ecstatic girl paused for only a few seconds before dragging her heavy body forward again. And at this moment, a thick leg suddenly stretched out, tripping the defenseless Lily. Snapped. The heavy luggage weighed on her back, and she was unable to stand up due to excessive physical exertion. That's really funny. I haven't seen you for 2 days. I miss you so much, Ed. What emerges from the shadows is not hope, but the cruel smile of the perpetrator. 21 I changed it 5 times and couldn't send it out. Black Fist Norwa. I deleted more than 1,000 words, revised it twice and posted it 3 times, but all were banned. I'm so drunk. A night of partying. During the day, Eugene went to the bank to open an account. By the way, Eugene rented a private room in Orario's top mansion. Although there is something wrong with bringing a girl home when you first meet her. But inviting 3 beauties with different styles back together at once is a skill worth showing off. To celebrate our meeting tonight. Wow. Romani 30 years old. Meow haha. The boss is awesome. Koroi and Noroa, who live off bounties, have seen a bit of the world. For Eugene, without saying a word, he opened this kind of wine, which is exclusive to nobles and even loved by gods, and his favorability level increased even more. Those chambers of commerce and gangs that they have cooperated with in the past are not from Kuoko Soso. The pickup is always in the streets. It's so hard to find a restaurant, and I don't even want to invite customers. I can't wait to snatch food from their mouths. But Eugene has no such burden at all. No matter how many there are dozens of it makes no difference to him. Why care about it? Cheers, in unison. After 3 rounds of drinking. Everyone lay down casually in the splendid hall, on the thick wool carpet, and the cups and plates were in a mess. Well, seeing the 2 girls who were so drunk that they were already moaning with silly smiles on their faces and almost taking off their clothes to reveal their beauty, Lou frowned and sighed helplessly. Her bottom line is that she really can't accept this kind of thing. It was like this in the store before. Whenever everyone has a holiday, they drink all kinds of meat and vegetables. She would always cover them with quilts silently and clean them up alone. Don't worry. Eugene, who also had some blush on his face, stood up slowly. I ordered room service, and a professional nanny will come to help them wash up soon. You should go to bed soon too. After that, he loosened his shirt, revealing a large area of strong muscles, and stood up to go out. You don't sleep here. Liu didn't drink much, but her face still turned pink. A man's night has just begun. Eugene blinked angrily. Today's fun was too vegetarian, so I still need some meat to make it more interesting. Liu didn't understand what this guy had in mind. But finally we don't have to spend the night together. Sleeping in the same room as the man she met on the first day, even if they were separated by a door, she would be so awkward that she couldn't sleep all night. Haha, you will be lucky now. Later you will regret why you didn't get drunk and fall asleep. Eugene once again saw through Liu's little thoughts. He took small, cheerful steps and pushed the door open under the gaze of the elf girl. Following Eugene's back, he took a few steps forward. Before the door was closed, Liu saw Eugene's so-called extra meal event. What he held in his arms was a beautiful young girl with hot lines, enchanting posture, unusually bold clothes, and sexy wheat-colored skin. That's the Amazons. Liu recognized the race of the passionate girl. The Amazon clan is a daughter country in another world. As everyone knows about the Kingdom of Girls, not only are its members all girls, but all its children are girls. No matter what kind of alien race they are, they have not been able to conquer the wild genes of the Amazon female warriors. For a group that cannot reproduce itself, it has become custom and instinct to plunder high-quality males from outside. Over time, Amazon has developed its own unique concept. Naturally beautiful, they decided to follow their primitive desires. In Orario, because of their outstanding combat power and unique unrestrained style. Known as fighting Changfu. You can make money during the day and you can make money at night. The truth is that we understand it alive. This guy. Liu is not a girl who doesn't understand anything. She had heard many stories about Amazon women. Although she despised Eugene's pursuit of pleasure, she had no intention of stopping him. Men are still really dirty in nature. If you die in bed, no one else will be blamed. Muttering secretly, the elf girl closed the door forcefully. What follows is all deleted content. It's basically Eugene chatting with a girl named Lena. This Lena is actually the target of a werewolf, a major character in the Loki family in the future storyline. The Amazon will fall in love with a man who is stronger than her at first sight, and Lena pursues the werewolf in various ways, and in the end they are almost bound. Eugene gave the bullshit early this time. Each heavy attack robbed people of their physical strength, and then robbed them all night long. In order to tease Liu, he deliberately made loud noises next door. Black Cat and Black Fist got drunk and fell asleep, leaving Liu feeling lonely. One night passed, and Lena recognized her master directly. Taken into the shape of Eugene. But Liu was frightened by the protagonist's endurance, and shivered in the corner, doubting her life. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. 26 Last Life. Yo. I haven't seen you for 2 days, I miss you so much. The few people led by Ganu couldn't help but sneer when they saw Lily's embarrassed appearance. What, have you neglected to exercise in the past 2 days? As a supporter, why can't you even carry the package? What a waste. Lily was dizzy after falling. After seeing the faces around her clearly, her pupils dilated. Why are you, oh no, Master Gano here? You're the one, you actually sneaked out in the middle of the night. Ganu smiled maliciously and said, seniors have come to you for good jobs, but I didn't expect you to be not at home. I only found out you came here from the mouth of that old goblin man. Fortunately, the speed of the carriage is a beat faster than the short legs of the little humans. Lily's expression froze. Grandpa Norm. What did you do to Grandpa Norm? Ganu spat and said nonchalantly, you are quite fond of that goblin. He is just an old man. He will do it with a little scare. Compared to that, Ganu gestured to the side, and in the corner, a carriage loaded with cargo boxes slowly appeared. Ode, the seniors have always taken good care of you. Now, it's time for you to repay the favor, right? Lily just took one look and understood what the other party meant. It's not enough to rob her of money on weekdays. This is to capture her as a coolie and carry boxes for others. Any other time, Lily wouldn't be able to refuse. But now, she was desperate. The only salvation is waiting for her ahead. According to what the mysterious man said, you only have one chance in a lifetime. Lily's anxiety was beyond words. She tried her best to twitch the corners of her mouth and put on a flattering smile. Lord Ganu, Lily is really in a hurry this time. Please, for the sake of how much money I usually give you. Snapped. A huge slap came through the wind and slapped the girl who was approaching to the ground again. Give us money. Ganu sneered, why didn't I know? Before the girl could struggle to get up, he reached out his hand, roughly pulled her hair, and pulled Lily, who was screaming, in front of him. Do you think I don't know how clever you are every time? Have you ever given me enough for the amount I asked you to give? You have the nerve to mention it to me now. I'm telling you, you have no room for rejection. My business will always take priority over trash like you. His roar echoed in the empty square, and the atmosphere once dropped to freezing point. Please, please. The round teardrops like pearls kept flowing down. Lily's eyes were bloodshot. There was blood at the corner of her mouth, she was breathing heavily, and she screamed word by word. Let me go. Just one time. The miserable sound is like a crying cub, which makes people feel distressed. For a moment, even a villain like Gano fell silent. Puff. Suddenly there was a discordant nasal sound. PFF'd ha ha ha. Ah ha 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 ha. Look, the useless little human is very good at acting. You're a piece of trash who can only cry, so don't come into the dungeon. Ooh, I'm so scared. I've said it before. When degradation becomes a habit, people will become evil. This is a group of evil people who have already been lost on this road and cannot turn back. The depths of Ganu's eyes exuded a fierce red light. If you dare to refuse, I will break the old goblin's legs, burn his shop, and then tell him that everything is because of you and your unwillingness to help your dear family members. Do you think he will hate you forever? Ah. God. Why did this happen to Lily? It was as if time stood still and Lily's vision became blurry. She asked over and over again in her mind. Why is it that in this era when gods are alive, I still can't see hope? She couldn't remember how she got up and carried the unprecedentedly heavy cargo box. He also couldn't remember how he drove his feeble body, which was creaking and on the verge of collapse, step by step into the endless darkness of the underground city. I don't even remember how I came to the end of despair amidst all kinds of proud and arrogant sarcastic laughter. Just die. Lily's heart was filled with this thought. I failed that adult's expectation and also dragged down Grandpa Norm, the only person who was friendly to me. Lily had no idea of living anymore. The girl, who was as confused as a walking corpse, was already numb. Step by step, she sank into the darkness. The high-pitched voice continued to echo in my ears. Oh, that's how it should be. Supporters don't carry luggage. How can we adventurers have our hands free to deal with monsters? Right. If it weren't for us, this waste would have been eaten alive by the monster. Be grateful, Ode. Ah, right. One of them smiled evilly and came closer. I heard from Captain Channies that you actually know magic. Or is it a rare transformation magic? In this case, you can make a lot of money, right? Those perverted rich people in Orario will definitely give you a good price. Goohey, when you finish serving me, don't forget to come and have a good chat with your brother. Harsh laughter no longer elicited Lily's reaction. I want to die, 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 I want to die. In such an extremely pessimistic state, those words of ridicule would only make Lily's soul sink further to the bottom. But just as her senses were gradually losing, a few words made the girl suddenly wake up. Huh, it's the 7th floor, right? Yeah, it'll be there soon. There are more monsters at night. I hope I won't encounter killer ants. Shut up, you idiot. The 7th floor. The 7th floor. Lily's dim eyes suddenly regained their clarity. Her destination is also the 7th floor. Although there is not much time left, if we can escape from this group of people in time, there is still a chance. The renewed hope made the little human's spine quietly straighten. She endured the wear and tear on her shoulders and the weight on her knees. Gritting his teeth, he followed a few people step by step to the deep 7th floor. While several people were discussing the next direction of travel, Lily took out the jewelry given by the mysterious man from her arms. It was a blue gem. As the distance gets closer, there will be attraction. The radiance will point in the direction of the source. You must find a chance to escape. As a few people continued to go deeper, a relatively wide cave appeared in front of them. Lily is particularly familiar with this place. As a supporter, she had already memorized all the maps on the upper level. Because once in danger, adventurers will not save themselves. The only one she can rely on is herself. Right here. A rustling sound suddenly sounded in front, and everyone's eyes suddenly changed. Finally met it. Monster. A large red light emerged from the tunnel, and all the squeaking killer ants came out. 27 Ask the wishes of the deceased. Ganu and Lily. Here it comes. It's a killer ant. Be careful with their claws. Everyone, gather around to avoid being attacked. Several adventurers quickly gathered together. The long sword and broadsword flashed with cold light. Lily, on the other hand, was left alone. But this was exactly what she wanted. While the group was surrounded by monsters, she pulled out her knife and raised her hand to cut off the strap of the cargo box on her shoulder. Boom! The heavy sound of landing instantly attracted people's attention. She's going to run. Look at the goods first. Several people immediately panicked. But as senior adventurers, they quickly moved towards the cargo box and successfully maintained their formation. That damn brat. Some people gnashed their teeth in hatred. Having become accustomed to Lily's submissiveness, they had no resistance at all to this sudden resistance. A being who had been stepped on before was bitten back in this way today. The adventurers who became so angry that they all expressed their intention to skin each other with cramps. Hey boss, there's something wrong with this amount. The furious Ganu looked at the giant ants swarming from all directions and felt terrified. Is it a monster feast? It's too late. Each person carries a cargo box. Shit. Several people nodded quickly and took action quickly. Facing these dense swarms of killer ants, of course, the priority is to save your life. The other side. Lily, freed from her burden, was running as fast as she could. For the first time, she resisted desperately, and her heart was in her throat. I beg you, we must catch up. Lily prayed to God again in her heart. However, if there really is a God who can respond to this intention, then there won't be so many people dying in the dungeon every day. GG. The noise in front of me is very permeable. Lily's eyes trembled. Impossible. The path I chose was also occupied by killer ants. What to do? What to do? Sweat was pouring from her forehead. There is interception in front and pursuit behind. There is no one to rely on. Lily hesitated for only a second. Then he immediately turned around and ran away. Compared to monsters that kill without batting an eyelid, she might have a glimmer of hope when facing adventurers. Just a trace. The girl who turned back held back her tears and continued her final escape in life. After a while, she came to a fork in the road. Fortunately, from the cave entrance on the opposite side, the adventurers with hideous and twisted faces just appeared there. You be ********D, you came here just to die. Veins popped up on Ganu's forehead, and his voice was as low as a death declaration. No, don't come over, Lily screamed in terror. She reached into her arms and pulled out a dagger with her backhand. That was a magic sword. Hey, how dare you? The next second, huge flames rushed from the air. Boom. The fireball exploded in front of Ganu and the others, throwing up large amounts of dust and gravel, blocking their line of sight. It's now. Lily saw the opportunity and ran towards the opposite cave entrance. That is the last way to survive. The girl's expression was tense to the extreme. 10 meters, 5 meters, 3 meters. Seeing that she was about to plunge into the darkness. Call. A sharp silver light flashed behind him, and the spinning knife hit his slender thigh. Blood splatters. Ganu and others appeared behind the smoke with mocking evil smiles. That one just now would have been terrible if it had hit someone. Thank you so much for your mercy. Ha 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 ha. Lily collapsed to the ground, severe pain tearing at her nerves. The hero in the storybook can stand up again no matter how seriously injured he is, relying on his thoughts. Lily couldn't do this kind of thing. Her little face was covered in fear. But her body's instinct was still urging her to crawl toward the tunnel behind her. Close. The gem in my hand is heating up. She could clearly feel that she was not far away from that person. Be sure to get there. I must. The girl dragged a trail of blood on the ground. Her hands stretched forward. I just wish I could meet that person even half a second earlier. In just the next second. Snapped. Ganu's ruthless stamping crushed the girl's clenched fist. How could her childlike fingers withstand such trampling? He was immediately overwhelmed. Gah! Harsh, painful screams filled the cave. It's so noisy. Ganu roared and kicked Lily in the abdomen, forcing her to shut her mouth. No, no. Lily turned a deaf ear to Ganu's roar. She tried her best to break open the broken hand. In the blood-filled palm, the gem was shattered into pieces, even embedded in the flesh. The light inside gradually dimmed. Ah! Lily collapsed. She hugged her broken hands tightly, shrank into a baby-like posture, and cried wantonly. No matter how much Ganu and the people around him stepped on and reviled him, it didn't matter. She lost everything. Tears, sweat and blood mixed together, dyeing the girl's body a dirty color. No one came to save me. Do I really not deserve to be saved? Why did I, despite all my efforts, end up like this? Her eyes were blinded by blood. All the painful memories occupied my mind. What's left, a little bit of beauty, passes quickly. Abandoned by parents, kicked out of the house, bullied, ridiculed, beaten, and squeezed. Deprived of liberty. Killed. This is what happened to Livilia in the past 15 years. She didn't wait for her own hero. Hey boss. Is it glowing? Suddenly someone reminded me. Light. What kind of light is it? Lily couldn't see clearly. There seemed to be something glowing on Ganu's elbow. Getting stronger and warmer. Tread. 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 A figure over 2 meters tall and covered in armor stepped out of the darkness in front of him. The strong aura made everyone present look shocked. The extremely oppressive physique stood still in front of the stunned crowd. Who is it? Lily's heart contracted violently. Could it be him? Oh, boss. I finally found you. Ganu's hoarse voice now became extremely flattering. He put on a businessman's smile and walked step by step to the mysterious strong man. Look, the magic potion you ordered. It's all here. It's just that it was slightly damaged due to some reasons. But don't worry. The culprit has been caught by us. Look, it's this despicable little human race. We serve you conscientiously, but this damn little thief was caught red-handed with his evil intentions. Ganu was frothing at the mouth and tried his best to defend the damage to the goods. At the same time, he did not forget to kick Lily twice on the head. However, no matter how clever he is, the tall figure remained indifferent. He let out a heavy breath. Then he squatted on the ground. He seemed to be deciding how to deal with this little thief who dared to get his hands on his goods. But what Lily saw in his hand was not blue light. It was the same blood-red color as Ganu. Gulu swallowed a mouthful of blood. Lily smiled. Dear adventurer, please, show mercy. Tears of blood flowed from the corners of her eyes. Let me go to death. 28 Beyond Boundaries. Let me die. It's simple, right? For adventurers who make a living by hunting monsters and are full of viciousness. Killing a dying person couldn't be easier, right? Seek death. This was Lily's last wish. Now she can no longer do it on her own. So, she made a request to others for the last time. For the last time, look forward to goodness in the world. I hope the stranger in front of her can give her a less painful death. However, she still underestimated the cruelty of the world. No. The man's voice was thick and unpleasant. Lily was stunned, immediately relieved. Yes, even if you don't do anything, you won't live long. Why do people need to be stained with blood? Just, no matter how reasonable. She still shed tears unsatisfactorily. Can't even the tragic wish of death be fulfilled? Wasn't it possible to be free until the very end? Such unwillingness filled my heart. But, just in the next second. Buzz. Warm light shone on his face. Lily was covered in blood, sticky with tears, and her eyes were widened and blocked by swelling. It was as blue as the sea. It is a delicate and beautiful sapphire pendant. She is willing to risk her life to find something. Now, it appears in front of us in such a dramatic way. I want to shout but can't. I wanted to get up and hug him, but I couldn't move. Tortured by Sen Han's will to die in his explosive hope. I can't tell the difference between reality and fantasy. Lily's hands trembled as she struggled to lift them. With great care and respect, I accepted the pendant. There's only one chance. Eugene looked down at the girl whose expression was on the verge of collapse, remaining indifferent. To live or not to live. Stay alive, or be free. After he finished speaking these ambiguous words, he returned to silence. Let the atmosphere ferment uncontrollably. I don't want to live like this anymore. Even if you are shattered to pieces, don't go back to that hell again. Please, sir, give Lily her freedom. Her voice was soft, cautious and polite. It's like seeing a god for the first time. Call. Something is burning. That was Lily's idea. It's also Eugene's bottomless magic. It is the fear in the hearts of everyone watching. Hey, boss. Ganu felt the soaring ferocity, his face turned pale and he stepped back. You seem to have made a mistake. The guy who damaged your goods was obviously the guy on the ground. Listen to someone's explanation. Seeing that something was not going well, the few people stepped back involuntarily. Just because there was just a man in front of me, the aura he exuded actually penetrated deep into his bones. Hee. Looking at the various expressions of the beings in front of him, Eugene sneered mockingly. Under the helmet, those huge golden eyes gave out a sharp gaze. The gloomy voice was not human. Every injustice has its owner, and every debt has its owner. What is broken must be repaid with blood. Before you finish speaking, take one step forward. Call. That gesture makes one's hair stand on end. Jung. When Ganu and others saw this, they didn't talk nonsense. They drew their weapons and glared angrily. Hey you be ********D. You don't understand good words, do you? If that's the case, then die. The group of people used their own actions to quickly surround Eugene who was standing still. This is not a formation for dealing with monsters. It is obvious that he is so proficient because he often uses it on people. Very good. Eugene felt ecstatic in his heart. This is the second time he has put humans on the table. If the target is an evil person, it will arouse his even stronger desire to devour it. Now, he is horny and thirsty. Oh, boss, I know you are strong. Ganu's expression was exaggerated and his tone was arrogant. Level 1 definitely doesn't have this kind of momentum. I'm sure you can be considered the best among level 2. But, Ganu's figure suddenly swelled as he spoke. Those eyes were rapidly becoming bloodshot and red. In his mouth, fangs protruded. Within a few breaths, the feline characteristics clearly took over. Skill, become mad. We are not easy to mess with either. A low growl came from Ganu's throat. He is over 30 years old and has been working hard in Orario for many years. Now, it has already entered the ranks of LV2. And his 5 subordinates are all top LV1 veterans. Such a team, according to the guild's standards, can even explore the middle level, below the 12th floor. Although it looks like a fish on the outside, its strength is real. Traitors and thieves may not be incompetent. It is precisely because they have seen the dangers of the underground city that this group of people will change their past way of living. They were all adventurers with dreams. But dreams often cannot stand the test of reality. How's it going, boss? Ganu hissed with a sinister laugh. If possible, we don't want to get involved in a murder case. As long as you hand over everything you have on you, we promise to let you and that little human go. Listen, those killer ants are already approaching. Once the fight starts, you will be attracted quickly, right? When the time comes, you won't be able to escape with that oil bottle, right? Analyze the situation, throw out the bait, and show kindness appropriately. A series of coercion and inducement flowed smoothly. This is what adventurers who have lost themselves will eventually become. Puff. PFF'd ha ha ha. Eugene smiled. It was like they were mocking Lily, making such harsh laughter. You are so ridiculous. Can't you tell the difference yet? Shocked by Eugene's weird laughter, everyone involuntarily took a half step back. Their eyes glanced randomly, fearing that there would be monsters in the shadows attracted by the sound. And at this moment, boom! Eugene kicked off the ground, his strong hind legs bursting out with strange force, and his outline blurred instantly. Activate the skill, flying. The body wrapped in armor seemed to blend into the dark space. No one could see clearly how he crossed that distance and arrived in front of me. And when the squeezing feeling came, it was already too late. Poof! A pair of huge horns penetrated directly through the abdomen of one of them. The hard bones of the head directly crushed the opponent's internal organs. Boom! The rock wall collapses. Rubble falls. A veteran adventurer who can fight against several powerful monsters and has experienced hundreds of battles. Just die like this. Plunder. The creeping darkness quickly covered the dead body. In the shadows, there seemed to be the sound of dense chewing. It makes the hair on the hair stand on end and the cold sweat breaks out. Question mark. Ding. You have completed the loot. Acquire the target's most prominent attribute, strength plus 615. Acquire the target's most powerful skill, Tycoon Ranbu, attack speed plus 30% when used. Acquire the target's best ability, Blackmail G. Get all the items dropped by the target. More than 600 points of power. Eugene's eyes suddenly shrank. The system panel pops up instantly. Question mark. Name, Eugene. Race: Human, Minotaur, subspecies. Level: LV1. Ability: Power 1804, Durability 1120 SS, Dexterity 1009 SS, Agility 1157 SS, Magic Power 256 grams. 1,800 points of strength. It's beyond description. Beyond the limits, never seen before. Even the protagonist Belle only reached 1,300 points at most. Plunder is so powerful. How could he directly ignore the gap represented by each 100 points and force the data to be superimposed? The benefits this brings are simply much more than the other party's entire crystallization. Eugene's heart beat wildly. Every piece of his skin and every hair in his body was joyful at this huge gain. The hot blood and wild animal nature cannot be suppressed. In front of the temptation called power, no one can stay sane. Roar. The deafening roar almost penetrated people's eardrums. This is not a human voice. The former adventurers were frightened by this ferocious roar. The expressions on their faces proved that they had been reminded of the life and death crises they had faced in the past. But it's too late. It's a murderous night with a dark moon and high wind. Here and now tonight, they must die. 29 Hunter 1 looking for data. A huge roar set off gusts of wind, pouring out from the passages in all directions. Then it triggered countless rustling echoes from the killer ants in the depths. This guy is not human. The adventurers' eyes widened, and they were so shocked that they were speechless. But Eugene clearly said something just now. As we all know, monsters also possess certain intelligence and know how to sneak attack from behind and cooperate in groups. But no matter how smart you are, you still don't know the language. So what's going on with this soul-shaking roar in my ears? Don't panic. The leader, Ganu, suppressed the fear in his heart and casually made up a decent reason to boost morale. It's madness. That guy must have some kind of special kind of madness. He's very fast. If you don't want to die, use your best moves. Oh. People who received psychological assistance immediately calmed down, although the dripping cold sweat could not hide the tension deep inside. But it's better than a mess. The level is very high. Eugene was even more satisfied. The team he destroyed before was also at level 1, but the gap in experience and mentality was obviously not as good. This also means that the power he can obtain will be even more powerful. Can't wait. The muscles on Eugene's body bulge, and he can intimidate a whole team by himself with his bare hands. Coming. Sensing the unparalleled murderous intent, people shouted loudly. Boom. I saw the giant bull-horned body leaping forward and killing a person in a straight line. Eugene's movements are wide open and wide, and he doesn't hide the vital points of his body at all. For those who are skilled in cooperating, this is a chance to win. Block him. The targeted person suppressed the desire to escape and kicked off the ground to activate the enhanced skills. The sword in his hand immediately became gleaming with gold. He let out a strange scream and bravely slashed at the rushing Eugene. How can the body compare to steel that has been tempered over thousands of times? The next second, clang, Eugene blocked with his wrist, and there was a crisp echo. Everyone's eyes changed. Inner armor. But the sound is too. Before they could recover, Eugene had already waved his other arm and struck the sword blade against it hard. The body resists 100 steel making. Snap. The giant fist, which was like a copper pillar, broke the sword's blade. The huge force coming from the broken blade immediately cracked the man's jaw. Armored armadillo, hardened. The monster with the strongest defense on the upper level, coupled with Eugene's super standard 1,800 points of power. None of the low-level weapons can match it. A real humanoid magic weapon. Ding ding ding. 3 weapons thrust forward, hitting Eugene's broad back. However, it didn't move at all. The sharp tip cannot pierce the flesh at all. There's something wrong with this guy. You don't have to say it. People cursed in their hearts. Eugene, on the other hand, paid no attention to the mosquito bites on his back. Facing the person in front of him who had numb arms and coward figure, he was forced into a corner. Without hesitation, he raised his giant arm like a wooden stake and smashed it down on his head. Call. But at this moment, a figure mixed with a fishy wind swooped in front of him from the side. The strong force knocked Eugene staggering. Don't underestimate people, UB******************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** completely transformed into a cat's head, making a low roar. But this appearance that made others fearful only made Eugene sneer. Lions are able to hunt bison because of their fangs and claws. And now, for Eugene, who has mastered the iron skin and iron bones. What a fierce lion. It's just a wild cat with fried hair. A gift in return. Eugene lowered his body sharply, his huge horn forward. That kind of hand movement was a fatal swoop that instantly claimed a person's life. No, not good. Ganu's animalistic instincts gave him a wild warning. The hair covering half of his body suddenly exploded like needles. If he gets hit this time, his ending will not be much better than that of the unlucky guy at the beginning. Click. Eugene's footsteps moved, the cracks under his feet spread out, and the powerful kick was triggered again. Almost at the same time, Ganu's figure also turned blurry. The two were thrillingly intertwined, and Eugene's collision filled with the aura of death actually just brushed Ganu's shoulder. The feline's dodge ability and reaction speed are truly well deserved. Boom. Ha. Gano narrowly escaped and was about to show his joy. But when he saw the scene in the smoke clearly, his face became paler. Poof. Eugene raised his giant hand, grabbed the half-dead man's neck, and gently pulled him off the giant horn. Like fallen leaves flapping overhead. His target was not Ganu from the beginning. It's the opponent who couldn't be killed in one blow before. Ding, you have caused heavy damage to the target and drained 80% of the opponent's physical strength. The fog in the dark night flashes rapidly, taking away people's last hope of life. Question mark. Ding, you have completed the loot. Acquire the most outstanding attribute of the target, dexterity plus 666. Acquire the target's most powerful skill, sword drawing technique, and execute a horizontal slash at extremely fast speed. Acquire the target's best ability, weapon maintenance G. Get all the items dropped by the target. Current status. Ability, Power 1804, Durability 1125 SS, Dexterity 1675, Agility 1163 SS, Magic Power 274 grams. Boom. Eugene threw the mummy on the ground. He stepped hard and blood splattered 3 feet. 6 people, kill 2. 4 left. Laugh. Under Eugene's mask, the sinister laughter was full of sarcasm. In his eyes, people seemed to see their own reflection. That's greed. When faced with a very tempting treasure that can be easily obtained. Originating from the heart, uncontrollable greed. 30 Hunter 2 looking for data. Turn 2 opponents into barbecued pork in succession. After Eugene reaped huge profits, his momentum continued to increase. Now, those are living people wearing armor and holding weapons. In his eyes, it has become the most delicious food in the world. Tread. Every time he takes a step forward, his opponent will involuntarily retreat. On the giant horn, which was sharper and harder than fine steel, drops of bright red blood flowed into streams. This guy is a devil. We are the ones who really fall into the trap. Only then did the remaining 4 people, including Lien Ganu, understand. Why did I receive this inexplicable mission? The other party came for me from the beginning. The purpose of this thing, whether it is a human or a ghost, is to bury himself here. Who would agree to that kind of thing? Pressed to the limit by humiliation and crisis. The momentum of the adventurer finally emerged from the depths of his already muddled soul. The 4 people lined up at the 4 corners, their arrogance rising, and each exerted all their strength. Face the unknown and fight. They started an adventure in the dungeon after a long absence. Use all the means to suppress the bottom of the box. Ganu took the lead, wielding a short blade in each hand, and killed Eugene with red eyes. As the strongest member of the team, he activated the Orc's Madness skills based on level 2. At the expense of flexibility and judgment of movement, strength and speed are greatly improved. Roar. The huge cat man dodges towards Eugene and kills him without fear of death. A crazy slash, silver light flashing, sparks flying. It looks very courageous and extremely dangerous. However, what they don't know is, Eugene's hardening skills come from the armored armadillo, the monster with the strongest defense on the upper level. A level 1 adventurer alone can hardly cause damage to its armor. Not to mention, after Eugene's crazy hunting, his hardening has evolved into hardening V. It's several times stronger than the hardening of an armored armadillo. Although it appears that Eugene has been hit multiple times. But in fact, all of them caused damage to the armor, and no attack could be embedded inside. He has enough confidence, unless he uses a secondary weapon or a magic sword. Otherwise, it would be impossible to scratch his flesh. Snapped. Ignoring the slash from the front, Eugene grabbed it with his backhand. With 1,800 points of power, he easily pulled away the spear coming from the side. The next second, he activated the skill, 15 with a random stick. 15 levels of enhancement. The durability of stick weapons is increased by 150%. Whoops! With a wave of Eugene's hand, the spear transformed into an indestructible high-grade weapon. Combined with the inch long and inch strong and lance specialization he drew previously. Bunches of gun flowers instantly spread out in his hands, and then stabbed straight towards the stunned Ganu. Call! A bloody flower bloomed on Ganu's shoulder. But for the mad state, this is just a minor injury. Try your hand. Eugene laughed. This is also a small trick for him. Surrounded by 4 people, Eugene's feet were spinning rapidly, bursting out with agility that was inconsistent with that strong body, like a whirlwind. At the same time, the position held by the palm suddenly shrank backward. He raised his arms flat and thrust out the spear like lightning from a snake coming out of its hole. Visually, it looks like the spear has suddenly stretched 3 feet. Call! The next moment, huge gaps were opened in the chests of the 4 people at the same time by the tip of the spear. 4 curtains of blood erupted neatly. Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. The few people who didn't see Eugene's movements clearly felt their hearts trembling and retreated in unison. But in this electric confrontation, retreating means a flaw. Eugene stepped sideways and circled around the spear on his shoulder. It was pulled by the huge arm force and drew a black shadow in the air. Woo! It was the air that was moaning. Snapped. The gun barrel hit the face of a guy without a helmet, and all the red and white stuff flew out. Before he could even let out a whine, his head was smashed. Plunder. You have caused heavy damage to the target and drained 80% of the opponent's physical strength. Acquire the target's most prominent attribute, Strength plus 612. Agility plus 612. Strong luck bonus. Eugene was overjoyed. He actually gained 2 attributes at once. Ability, Power 2416, Durability 1125 SS, Dexterity 1675, Agile 1775, Magic 286 grams. Power poured in like a tidal wave. Eugene even felt that his flesh and blood were reveling in a carnival, trying to burst his skin. No more. This feeling of plundering is so wonderful. Eugene's heart was almost lost because of the feeling of gain. The more he indulges in this, the more eager he becomes for the next step. Boom! Eugene's eyes turned around and stared directly at the person who retreated to the corner. Idiot! Hide quickly! Ganu watched as the fool instinctively raised his thick gauntlet. But how could that kind of low-level thing stand up to Eugene's strengthened spear? The muscle fibers of his arms twitched rapidly, and the veins bulged like green snakes. Then, throw the spear out. Boom! With the blessing of 2,400 points of power, the spear was thrown out like a missile. The speed is beyond the speed of the naked eye, carrying the force of breaking mountains and cracking rocks. It has just been released and is already in front of him. Poof! No resistance is like poking through tofu. Those who choose to persevere pay the price with their lives for their mistakes. There was a hole in his arms, chest, back of his heart, and even the rock wall behind him that was extremely seeping. This, in the end. I was shocked by the scene of death in that moment. The other person's defensive structure slackened every second. What greeted him was Eugene's giant fist like a hammer from bottom to top. Boom! A huge impact penetrated the body, and the man didn't wait for a cry. Followed by another punch. A super close left hook directly dented the opponent's facial bones, and most of his teeth flew out. Snapped. Eugene's right hand accurately clamped the flying opponent, and his fingers dug into his neck, making a frightening creaking sound. He pinned the last struggling opponent against the wall. Question mark. Ding. You have caused heavy damage to the target and drained 60% of the opponent's physical strength. The third punch. There was a sticky splash on the stone wall. The struggle ended abruptly. Immediately, the headless corpse fell to its knees weakly and slowly crawled to the ground. Large pools of blood were scattered wantonly. Call. It seemed like a long sigh after a full meal. What's wrong? You can't go on. Eugene's voice was hoarse and slow. He turned around, and the strong energy and blood were growing visibly to the naked eye. At this moment, in Ganu's eyes, he has completely separated from the concept of man and beast. Instead, it transformed into a group of extremely vicious demonic shadows that had never been seen before. 31 super attributes, unlimited magic. Please, let me go. I'll give you everything I have. I have a lot of savings. Real estate, women, all for you. Ganu's madness has exited. His body gradually returned to the appearance of a cat man. This does not mean that his physical strength has bottomed out. But it means that the fighting spirit in his heart has been completely lost. How can a beast maintain its posture if it no longer has the will to fight? Ganu's mood fell into an abyss. At the beginning, when Noroa found him, he still arrogantly thought that Eugene was just a newcomer addicted to dungeons. No matter where you go, you can make a lot of profits. But what he didn't expect was, for Eugene, the potion is just an added bonus. These adventurers are the goods themselves. Such words are always spoken at this time. Eugene looked at the helpless Ganu, without any fluctuation in his heart. In the original work, this group of people also provoked the protagonist's lifelong enemy, the Minotaur. Killed without any resistance. Is this considered the end of the world line? Ignoring the ugly begging for mercy, Eugene walked over step by step. Just as he reached out towards the trembling cat man, Ganu's hand magically turned out a red dagger. It's Lily's magic sword. Die. I didn't expect that the final struggle would be in this way. Eugene stepped aside calmly. The agility of 1800 is as fast as the wind. Although the blazing flames were fierce, they could not touch Eugene at all. In fact, considering his durability, nothing would happen if he got hit. But, the hair of cows is very precious. If it is burnt, it will lose its properties. Under the horrified gaze of the other party, Eugene dodged, stretched out his big hand, and grabbed Ganu's neck. Level 1 was able to pin Level 2, who was good at strength, against the wall and unable to move. How ironic. His hand slowly retracted. The pressure on the throat increased little by little. The process is both despairing and overwhelming. Woo! I cannot. Ganu's eyes bulged horribly. At this last moment, he tried to go crazy. But the use of skills is not achieved overnight. Must have a stable state and skillful skills. Therefore, his face switches back and forth between human and beast. The sharp nails also come and go. There were scratches on Eugene's gauntlet. Gaba. Finally, as Eugene's fingers tightened, the originally thick neck was turned into a mess. The half-human head rolled to the ground. That way, it's like you can't tell yourself apart anymore. It fits the ending of The Fallen very well. Eugene was silent for a moment, then raised his hand to shake off the blood stains. Plunder. This is the first time he has used plunder on level 2 adventurers. It can be felt that the output of magic power has increased significantly. Correspondingly, the harvest is also more fruitful. You have caused heavy damage to the target and drained 80% of the opponent's physical strength. Question mark. Ding. You have completed the loot. Acquire the most outstanding attribute of the target, agility plus 650, plus 115, LV2. Acquire the target's most powerful skill, madness, when used, strength, agility, durability plus 30%, dexterity minus 30%, sanity slightly reduced. Acquire the target's best ability, blackmail F. Get all the items dropped by the target, half-used magic sword, exquisite short blade, leather armor, key to private vault, aphrodisiac. The rest are pretty much the same. What's going on with this LV2? Due to the host's insufficient level, experience higher than its own level cannot be digested. Damn, oh, bulge. Eugene pouted. I thought I could convert it and add a lot of experience. It seems that I haven't opened it up too much. Between adventurers, the improvement of each level is very different. Unless you have super powerful magic or skills, you will be crushed against them. This is why Eugene wants to find 3 LV4s to deal with the future enemy LV5. Therefore, it is actually understandable that LV1 cannot digest the experience of LV2. But correspondingly, dungeon monsters should not have this restriction. Because monsters actually have no levels. It is just based on the general strength inference and divided into a level for better strategy. For example, the big boss on the 17th floor, the giant Goliath, is classified as level 4 in strength. I'm not in a hurry. Eugene was not too upset. After all, Ganu is at the bottom of level 2 and doesn't have much leverage. He turned to the other corpses that he had not had time to extract. A sweep was carried out one by one. Unexpectedly, the guy who was beaten to death by his 3 punches. There is a magic. Although it is an ordinary healing magic, it also provides great convenience for Eugene's exploration. With the blessing of infinity, all his attributes can be accumulated. There is no upper limit for skills. What about magic? After successfully extracting magic, Low-level group healing, this doubt was easily solved. After the sound of the battle disappeared, Eugene waited for a moment. When the sound of the killer ants in the distance gradually faded away, he opened the system panel to check the harvest. Question mark. Name, Eugene. Race, human, minotaur, subspecies. Level, LV1. Ability, Power 2420, Durability 2270, Dexterous 1675, Agile 2425. 115H, Magic Power 310F. Question mark. Magic. Plunder, completely plunder the defeated object, and continue plundering the suppressed object. Enchanted, at the cost of losing one thing forever, in exchange for a super increase in strength. Infinite, all your attributes can be accumulated infinitely and can be released when necessary. Group low-level healing, quickly stops bleeding within 10 seconds and can completely heal small wounds. Question mark. Skill. Resistance sharing, the abnormal status you suffer can be shared by the clone or completely transferred. Flying 16, a casual stick. Development ability, strong luck, come back from adversity, survive from desperate situations. Except for the magic system, everything is super. Plus those super enhanced monster skills. Eugene feels that now, with his physical body alone, he can resist peak level 2, or even low level 3. If you add enchantment and infinity, he couldn't even imagine it. You know, this is only the 4th day since Eugene came into this world. I'm so tired. Almost intoxicated by his great progress, Eugene quickly took a few deep breaths to regain his senses. He looked into the distance and saw the bright blue light that was still flashing even though it was weak. He no longer hesitated and stepped out. You are back. Lily's voice broke. Her little body endured great pain. The broken palm is actually fine. Under the torture of Gano and others, he suffered bleeding in many places inside his body. This is fatal. But at this moment when every second counts, Eugene showed no mercy at all. He bent down in front of Lily's forehead as he had done at first. Then the soul whispers, it's time to pay the price. 32 Please call me, Steel, Heart, Thief. Bacchus, Soma and Lily. It's time to pay the price. Eugene failed to rescue the dying little human in time. In fact, in the original work, he had no fondness for the character Lily. In Orario, there are many people like her who have been bullied since childhood. But after making mistakes, there are very few people who can be redeemed by heroes. Yes, Eugene cheated on Lily. The only chance for redemption is not given by him. But the main character, Belcroni. However, until everything happens, these are all illusions. For Lily, who has little life left, Eugene has become her only one. Don't look at it, this little human race is very ordinary in every aspect. But in the battles Belle endured, there were many times where she played an important role. For example, if you are surrounded by monsters in a dungeon and cannot return to the upper level. It was Lily who suggested continuing down to the 18th safe floor. In the end, the group was successfully rescued. Another example is the Familia War launched by Apollo, the sun god, against Hestia, the goddess of hearth and fire. Lily also played an important role in that battle. However, in summary, the special thing about this character is her insight and magic. Knowledge can make up for it the day after tomorrow. And her exclusive magic. This was one of Eugene's original purposes. Today's game was entirely caused by him. Just to get her magic from Lily. And conduct experiments for some of your own conjectures. It sounds like the approach of an evil boss behind the scenes. In fact, Eugene did exactly that. Under his guidance, Lily came desperately in pursuit of freedom, and finally willingly dedicated her loyalty and even her life to Eugene. She thought she had found salvation. But the fact is that he was manipulated by Eugene throughout the entire process. What she really missed was a better future. However, Eugene doesn't feel any guilt at all. Unconditional goodness, in his view, is folly. If a person doesn't have the consciousness to risk everything and doesn't fight for his own wishes, how can he be saved? As long as you cry out that you regret it, a hero will come to save you. Your life has come to an end. Eugene spoke slowly. Leave it all to me and be free. Either it ends like this. There is no emotion shown in every word or sentence. Indifferently, he is like a god who is truly detached from external objects. What he gave was completely a fateful choice of life and death. Ah, Lily, I have made up my mind. Holding the gentle water light. Lily's little face, which was stained with bruises and blood stains, was filled with pure happiness. At the end of her life, she finally looked away. No matter what you have suffered or what you have expected. It doesn't matter anymore. She has tried her best and last effort. Muster up all the courage to defy fate. Now, I finally came to him. It's also considered a death without regrets. Very good. Eugene observed Lily's reaction silently. When a person is about to die, it is really valuable to be able to let go of his obsessions. This is exactly the ideal state he expected. From the first moment of using plunder, he began to think about it. If you use plunder on a living person, what will happen? The essence of plunder is to seize people's precious things and turn them into one's own use. So, if someone is willing to give everything he has, so what will be the effect of plunder? The golden light flashed in Eugene's eyes. He raised his hand and covered Lily's forehead. It's like God is blessing the lost. However, in reality. But he is a cold-blooded person who will take the last precious thing from the dying person. I will set you free. Out of nowhere, Eugene blurted out. He didn't know where he had made the wrong move. At this moment when there was no room for error, this voice sounded like a promise. It's like saying goodbye. The corners of Lily's mouth curved into a gentle curve. She accepted this intention. Plunder. The deep dark night fog slowly drifted downward. Finally it covered the girl's bruised body. If this happens, he will eat up her body. Is her soul considered free? Eugene remembered that it seemed to be mentioned once in the original novel. The souls on earth will return to heaven after death. The god of death was there to guide them to the afterlife. No, it shouldn't be like that. Eugene's teeth gradually clenched. He was never favored by gods during his lifetime. After death, they will return to their leadership. How can such a thing be allowed? Suddenly, an idea flashed in Eugene's mind. The magic power on his body is leaping. More massive energy quickly gathered towards the trapped Lily, rushing towards the deeper and more essential place in her body. Unlike other goals, plunder the dead, plunder opponents, plunder beasts. The Lily in front of her had already emptied her heart and entrusted everything she had to Eugene, whom she had never met before. Only taking from others can be called plunder. And like this, gently, expectantly asking. This, it should be called love, right? No reservations, let it all go. Eugene's inspiration became clearer. The magic power penetrating into Lily's body becomes smoother and smoother. Plunder, plus, continuous plunder, plus, deep plunder, equals. I didn't expect that I, the mighty bull demon king, would one day have pure love. Eugene sighed softly. Immediately, his palm lifted slightly. An unprecedented brilliance bounces upward. Question mark. Ding. The system panel suddenly popped up, with a cheering icon. Congratulations, you have independently developed the second stage method of plundering, the heart-stealing thief. The conditions for using this skill are 1. The target of the spell has become indifferent to the concepts of survival and destruction, and will not resist failure. 2. Maintain 100% trust in the caster and will not produce any resistance during the casting process. 3. The caster devotes himself wholeheartedly to in-depth exploration and has no distracting thoughts of killing people and stealing goods. Above, if the conditions cannot be met, refer to the normal looting effect. You have completed your first, heart stealing. Reward Intermediate Gift Pack 1. 33 Blood of Gods and Revenge of the Giant. Hestia liberates divinity. You have completed your first, heart stealing. Eugene looked at the large piece of information that popped up, feeling relieved and amused at the same time. He shook his head lightly to get rid of those distracting thoughts. Then turn your hand upward. On that palm, a ball of incomparably magnificent light was emitting its final light. Everything good and bad is in it. Expand. Eugene's voice fell. The light group instantly turned into countless tiny pieces of information, scattered in front of Eugene. That's all Lily's memories have been since she was born. Something that truly represents the essence of a person's soul. Her experiences, her temperament, her thoughts, her secrets, her techniques. All condensed here. This is her heart. It's really complicated. Eugene, who lived in a peaceful era, still overestimated the lives of the lower class in this era. Lily is actually very rich. She is very good at raising money from various sources, and also good at making small moves when distributing money. Such a shrewd girl, her daily life is poor. In order to escape the oppression of the family members. For this, she needs to prepare a full 3 million. A 15-year-old girl who is not powerful. 3 million. And this number is outrageous to anyone who hears it. She was actually close. HMPH, it seems that I am too naive. Looking at the girl who fell into silence, Eugene showed a rare apology on his face. I am so prosperous because I have all kinds of things at my disposal. But people like Lily can only rely on themselves. She's doing great. At least, it's better than his original body, Ajin. Don't worry, I will let you leave that family. From now on, you will be completely free. Eugene's brows tightened, and his thoughts were channeled into that ball of light. Lily's adventures in the dungeon turned into energy and entered Eugene's body. And the aura that symbolized the exclusive magic also floated from the girl's body and belonged to Eugene after being inspired. Question mark. You have completed the plunder. Acquire the most outstanding attribute of the target, magic power plus 400. Acquire the target's most powerful skill, the hero behind the scenes, and automatically reduce the burden when the equipment is too heavy. Acquire the most powerful magic of the target, transformation. You can perfectly imitate creatures of similar size. Done. While the opponent is still alive, the attributes are extracted. Eugene's face lit up with joy. With this experience as a basis, he has enough confidence to carry out the next plan. Calmed down a bit, Eugene continued the unfinished work at hand. What happens next is also very important. It can even be regarded as the most significant highlight in the whole process. The dark night mist gathered on Lily's body in a whirlpool shape, and there was no bottom inside. And with Eugene's operation, an extremely strong wave slowly emerged from the depths of darkness. It was a drop of blood. It comes from the god who bestowed blessings on Livilia, but also imposed shackles on her. Bacchus, Soma. The blood droplets suspended in the air continue to emit an extremely beautiful glow that cannot be summarized by human adjectives. That is the characteristic of God, the aura that only God deserves to possess. At this moment when something not belonging to the human world leaves the body, Lily, who was in chaos, actually laughed sincerely. She felt relief. The invisible but solid shackles that had been binding her all this time were released at the source. Blood of God. Eugene looked directly at the fantastic thing, and his heart seemed to be shaking. The gods in this world have all sealed their divine power and divinity and descended to the lower world. On the ground, they can blend in with all living things. And in heaven, they are the real deal, able to control the rules, turn their hands into clouds and rain, and dominate the entire world. Always feel a little strange. In Eugene's impression, divine blood can grant gifts. But it shouldn't have such a strong sense of existence. Could it be because of the special nature of plunder? Also lifted the shackles on the gods. That must be it. Eugene's eyes immediately turned serious. Unrestrainedly emitting such strong divine light in the dungeon. Then there is only one result. Rumble. Go deep underground. Go through the upper level and come to the middle level. The 17th floor of the cave is wide and flat. There is a huge wall covered with huge crystals deep inside. A dark and evil shadow is forming rapidly. The adventurers who occasionally passed by were dumbfounded when they saw this scene, shocked by this strange phenomenon. The Loki Familia have just launched an expedition. The 17th floor is also the first floor master, boss in the dungeon. The giant, Goliath, he should have been punished long ago. According to the guild's experience, it will take at least 2 weeks for it to be born again. But this time, it was almost the Loki Familia who took the lead. Inside the crystal curtain wall known as the Wall of Sighs. Then there was a large mass of evil flesh and blood that had never been seen before, regenerating again. It was like the dungeon was rushing to produce and trying to fight against something. Quote. Even on the 7th floor, you can feel unusual vibrations. Eugene's eyes narrowed, his expression serious. No longer caring about anything else, he took out an empty medicine tube and put the powerful blood beads into the bottle. The next second, it will be stored in the system space immediately. Ever since, the fluctuations subsided. The intense movement coming from below seemed to slowly subside. So dangerous. The 17th floor, that temporary product, that never appeared. It should be the Black Goliath, in the original work. The dungeon is alive. This concept has been mentioned initially. And it hates the gods extremely. In the near future, in order to save Bel and his party who are in danger, Hestia, the goddess of hearth and fire, and Hermes, the messenger god, violate the rules and enter the underground city together for search and rescue. During this period, due to some reasons, Hestia released the sealed divinity. Although it is only a short and small release. However, this still caused strong revenge from the underground city. That is, the Black Goliath was born specifically to obliterate the gods. Compared to the prototype, it has been enhanced in every aspect. Its potential ability is estimated to be LV5. After taking a long breath, Eugene still felt unsure. Using crystal bottles to store divine blood is indeed a bit sloppy. He decided to find a safer container on the ground and store it in the system space. Double insurance. Although this thing is precious, it is of little use for the time being. Eugene looked at Lily, who was still seriously injured, and gently picked her up with a pair of big hands. The girl slept like a baby. And in her current state, she is indeed like a baby, with no worries or worries. Because from now on, there is no longer the emblem of God on her back. Lily Luca erred. From then on, he had nothing to do with the Somo family. 34 The first meeting with Niu. Carnivorous girl Lena Tully. On the ground. The mansion where Eugene lives. Your marked scar belongs to me. My engravings, scars, still belong to me. Say the magic spell silently. Eugene never forgets to say a cool line. Hein changes, Shin. The next moment, his appearance changed rapidly, from a young man to the old man next door. Wow. How amazing. Lena behind her exclaimed sincerely. I have fallen in love with the old man next door. It's just a little trick. Eugene, who is full of white hair but still handsome, spread his hands and told the truth. He moved closer to the Amazon girl who had just finished exercising and still had lingering emotions. The voice was evil. I can try a lot more in the future. Before Lena could scream, Eugene was already laughing and walking out the door. Under the cover of night, he walked out from the front door in a swaggering manner. There was no need to worry about the two people who stared in the shadows and observed them diligently. Getting on the mansion's exclusive carriage, Eugene went straight to the Tower of Babel. The horse galloped freely in the deserted night, making crisp echoes on the stone road. In a short time, he had arrived at the entrance of the underground city. Haha, if you really count, this is my first time here. Looking at this strange place, Eugene was filled with emotion. The clone has never been to the first floor before, and this is indeed the first time for the original body to come here. Ringing the 12 o'clock bell. At the end of the chant, Cinderella reveals his true body. A handsome dark-skinned man with blonde hair and golden eyes in a slim suit stood on the dark border, waiting quietly. Tread. Facing the gradually brightening light. The Tauren holding the girl in his arms came step by step. The two looked at each other across the distance. Until they looked at each other. But they were speechless. It feels like looking in the mirror. The two Eugenes expressed the same sentiment. One side is human nature, and the other side is animal nature. It's really fun. Other than that, not much more to say. In the dungeon, Eugene seized some healing potions and temporarily gave Lily emergency treatment. She should be able to make it to the hospital. Eugene stretched out his hand and touched the Tauren's giant fist. It's like the contact between the left and right hands. They both turned around at the same time. One goes towards the moonlight, the other returns to the darkness. The next day. The Dean-Kate family headquarters is bustling with activity every day. Known for its healing properties, the hospital, which has been expanded many times, is still overcrowded. There is no shortage of wounded in the dungeon. Every risk-taking adventurer hopes to get the best possible rescue. And under these conditions, Lily still woke up slowly in a spacious and bright single room. The gentle light and the smell of plants outside the window made her nose come alive first. Akiu. It hurts. The pain in his ribs instantly shattered any illusions about what he thought was going on. Still alive. Lily, are you still alive? She watched the gentle breeze blow through the curtains. The dull expression came to life after a few seconds. All the memories came back to me. Desperate escape at all costs, all the counterattacks, desperate despair, and before death strikes. It was like the appearance of a god descending into the world. Until now, Lily still didn't know the name of that benefactor. Oh, I'm awake. Eugene was sitting on the rocking chair in front of the bed, holding a slice of apple leisurely. On his wrist, 2 strings of pendants, one red and one blue, were particularly conspicuous. That is, Lily saw the familiar color for the first time. From red to blue. It is almost a portrayal of her from death to life. How do you feel? Eugene looked at her with a smile. Lily, on the other hand, responded subconsciously. It's okay. Don't be nervous. No one will cause trouble for you here. You don't even need to pay for medical expenses. Eugene has seen Lily's memories, and this girl is used to hiding her scars. In fact, her young body had quite a few old injuries. My lord, are you that lord's companion? Shaking her head, Lily asked eagerly. Companion. Eugene chuckled, this description was a bit novel. If the left and right hands can be considered companions, then so be it. Yes. You want to meet that big guy, right? Don't worry about him. He's a martial arts fanatic. He just likes to hang out in the dungeon. Standing up and picking up a fruit plate, Eugene stretched out his hand and handed it to the confused girl. His hand caressed the sapphire pendant. Actually, that guy is just an errand boy. I was the one who actually informed you to go to the dungeon. It's actually you. Lily looked at Eugene with a shocked look on her face. The image of the upper-class ruffian in front of her seemed to be far from the true appearance of the adult she imagined. But looking at the pendant in Eugene's hand, she couldn't say anything. Why on earth do you want to help me? After learning Eugene's identity, Lily became obviously more timid. It's like the humility that comes from the heart when facing a big shot. You misunderstood. Eugene kept a mysterious smile. I'm not helping you. In fact, I took advantage of you instead. How could that happen? Lily couldn't understand. Your marked scar belongs to me. My engravings, scars, still belong to me. The light flashes, and Eugene's appearance changes instantly, and then returns again. Lily stared blankly at the all-too-familiar scene in front of her, and gradually understood. Only then did she understand what the price Eugene had mentioned while in the dungeon was. This is not a one-sided redemption, this is a transaction. Although the way it was facilitated was a bit rough, both of us got what we wanted. Want something? Lily and Eugene looked at each other. First there was doubt, then speculation, and then, the hope deep in his eyes grew bigger and bigger. Finally, she got the answer she dreamed of from Eugene. Congratulations. From now on, you have nothing to do with the Somo family. Exclamation mark. Lily's eyes gradually filled with light. There is a mirror inside, go and see for yourself. Hooray! Seemingly forgetting even the pain in her body, the girl jumped up like a cat, her smooth feet making a soft clicking sound on the ground. She rushed into the private bathroom in the ward, and after a few rustles, it fell into silence. Eugene counted silently. About 10 seconds later. Ah, oh. The cry that overwhelmed all the suffering pierced the silence. On this ordinary morning, a young girl is given a new lease of life. Although I am very touched, this is a hospital. After listening to Lily howl for dozens of seconds, Eugene frowned slightly and thought about going in to persuade the little girl. But at this moment, stop. No one is allowed to touch meow. The girls with outstanding looks huddled together and broke in together. 35 Offend Eugene. Let you taste the ultimate humiliation. Liu just joined the hostess and felt ashamed. This scream is incredible. Boss. You are bullying girls again, meow. Chloe, Noroa, and Lena rushed in one after another. Behind him was Liu with nervous eyes. She was afraid that she would see something and have to come to arrest him again. Oh no, she was here to protect Eugene. Why are you here? Eugene looked confused. Owner. Lena shouted out the incredible title as soon as she came up. Unlike the other girls, she is currently the closest to Eugene. All negative distance. Hey, don't hold me so tightly, meow. Let go, you stupid Amazon. Roy and Noroa each pulled Lena away. But Liu, who followed quietly behind, discovered the clues keenly. From her perspective, in the large open bathroom, Lily, who was barefoot and with her upper body clothes thrown on the floor, was sitting slumped against the wall, crying. This doesn't look right, does it? This beast. There were dark clouds in the sky above Liu. We haven't seen each other for just one day, and yet I'm still kissing a little girl. Still a lowly. Forget it about Amazon, it's just a matter of mutual consent. But this girl with a miserable posture and disheveled clothes still had injuries on her body. Something terrible had obviously happened. Unforgivable. Because of the wrong impression about Eugene. The elf girl, who had completely misunderstood the situation, had lightning flashing in her eyes. That fierce aura instantly suppressed the scene. No, that, Miss Liu. Eugene understood the situation at a glance. Listen to my explanation. Call. The sanctions from the apostle of the goddess of justice came through the air. Friendship breaking face boxing. It's too late, it's fast. As a veteran master who reached level 4 5 years ago, Liyu's agility and dexterity have now reached a level. Blast lives up to his name. However, her original intention was just to give Eugene a taste of pain. I didn't mean to kill him, probably. This also means that the power of this attack is at least 90% probably. Otherwise, just a casual blow from level 4 would be able to chop off the head of an ordinary person, Eugene. Seeing that small but powerful fist coming in front of him, Eugene, who should have been completely unresponsive, took a step to the side by accident. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark. There were all masters present, and the gold content of this step immediately attracted attention. Snapped. The impulsive Liu didn't expect that Eugene had such skills. Just a moment of sluggishness. She had thrown herself into Eugene's arms. So hot, so soft. Once again, their evaluations of each other popped up in their minds at the same time. The second time he came into contact with the elf girl's skin, Eugene himself did not expect to be so enthusiastic. In fact, no one thought of it. Ahem, that Miss Liu. Surrounded by the aroma and strong masculine scent, as well as the feeling of thick chest muscles. It was the first time since birth that I was hugged so tightly by a man. The first time in every sense, along with a huge amount of information, poured into the elf girl's mind. Zilla. The illusory sound of roasting sounded. Liu's brain was temporarily paralyzed. Her eyes were trembling, she was uttering meaningless ababa, and her slender pointed ears were even red to the core. The skin as white as porcelain was quickly covered with a layer of fire clouds. Eugene raised his hands very wisely, with a solemn expression, not daring to move at all. Everyone has heard about the common sense of elves. This sudden contact is just an apology to ordinary people. But for the elves, it was just drunkenness, chaos, and inexplicable loss of a situation as serious as the first time. For fear of destroying the elf girl who is in a state of extreme balance. Ahem, Liu, calm down. Noroa just opened her mouth to try to comfort her. The next second, ouch. With the sound of shattering glass, Eugene flew out of the window on the third floor like a discus. Hardening plus resistance sharing. Boom. Tai Zixing lay on the grass, and Eugene breathed in the fragrance of the grass. Grass, it's really good grass. Blah 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 blah. Although he was not injured, Eugene still pretended to be pitiful and buried his head in Lena's arms, surrounded by a group of beautiful girls. So unhappy. Even Lily, who had come back to her senses, clutched his sleeve tightly and wouldn't let go. Although Eugene said no need to thank them, they were just having fun. No, it was just a transaction. She still regards Eugene as her benefactor. So, on the opposite side of everyone. Liu stood alone on the opposite side. The blush still lingered on her face, and in a blink of an eye, she felt grievances and apologies again. Although he looked very cute, Eugene felt like laughing for no reason. Although Liu is a cold and ice-cold beauty. But in the past, she was called a waste elf by her companions from the Estrella Familia. Not because of noobs. It's because in life, many small things are not handled well. Being fooled, being offered a low price, chatting to death, etc. Although it has been several years. But now it seems that the spirit of a heroine who roars when there is any injustice has not diminished at all. Say it, stupid elf. How can I compensate my boss for his losses? He actually threw people out of the window and so on. Fortunately, the owner is in good health. Yes. Lily also protested what happened to Mr. Eugene. Several people sang in harmony. Liu, who was deeply ashamed, lowered his head even further. Why does this happen? At first, out of basic concern, Liu took the initiative to go to the mansion where Eugene was staying. Then he met the three women who were going out, and followed the guidance of another spare pendant. Who would imagine that planning can't keep up with changes? Me. Liu stumbled and couldn't speak. Seeing that the situation was an embarrassment, Eugene simply covered Kato's hand and howled in admiration. My king's power. Lena actively cooperated when she saw it, and covered Eugene's big paw with great distress. It must have just broken. What will we do next? Eugene's bad ideas suddenly pop up. The elf over there. Ah, yes. Liu's waist suddenly straightened up, and he looked at Eugene who was smiling mischievously. Since you did such an egregious thing without asking why, I want to punish you. Penalty. Liu's eyes were innocent. How could she have imagined how many tricks Eugene had to do? Yes. Punishment. In order to make you remember this lesson deeply, I'm going to let you try it. What is the ultimate humiliation? Wow. Lu's eyes were startled, and his hands and feet were cold. What a terrible term. Next to Eugene, he saw 4 top-notch little girls wearing very little cloth, each of them smiling knowingly and maliciously. That kind of atmosphere, in Liu's opinion, was more frightening than 100,000 monsters. Hee, don't struggle, darling. After a while, Eugene lay on the bed, spread out his arms, and stretched out his arms. Lu, on the other hand, was holding back the shame and discomfort while doing a partial massage for him. As requested by Eugene, skin contact is required and gloves are not allowed. The shame that comes from doing something that violates the bottom line but has to abide by it. For the elves, it is definitely a terrible humiliation. But no matter what, it's just pressing the arm. The upper limit is right there. How can a small e-mule get on the expressway? Having said that, a group of girls with the mentality of just watching the excitement, the more they looked at it, the more they felt that something was wrong. Looking at Lu's slightly trembling figure, and the complicated expression full of unwillingness and shyness. Why do I always feel? What about acerbity? Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. 36 The Wine Keeper and Soma's Divine Wine. Head of the Soma Familia, Channy's Rustella. Enough, enough. If you continue, you will not be able to bear it. Liu's voice trembled. Well, is it no longer possible? Eugene looked at Liu, whose face was red and had reached her limit, and smiled evilly. This is the only endurance level 4 has. You don't have to move. Liu roared, wanting to punch Eugene again and plant him into the ground. But after having learned such a big lesson, she really won't have any thoughts of touching Eugene in a short time. At this moment, she felt that all the time she would spend with men in her life was given to Eugene. Ah, I really want to escape. The brave messenger of justice just wanted to leave quickly. Well, it's almost time, it's time to go. After hearing Eugene's words, Lu Ru was granted amnesty. But the next second, ah, Miss Lu, just stay. Why? Lu glared and said angrily. Lily is not well yet. In order to avoid unnecessary trouble, you should protect her here. Anyway, as long as you don't stay with me, that's fine, right? Eugene teased nonchalantly. And Liu, who was mentioned again, had no choice but to shut up and bow her head. Master Eugene, Lily doesn't want to be with her. This elf lady always feels very unreliable in what she does. Well, Eugene didn't expect this development at all, and was a little confused for a moment. He looked at Liu, who had been completely petrified by the blow. Ahem, if it doesn't work anymore, at least the strength is real, so you can just make do with it. He arranged his clothes, and under the complicated gazes of the other 3 women, he walked up to Lily and touched her little head. Don't worry, as long as I'm here to protect you, no one will dare to bully you. His words were simple and extraordinarily reassuring. So much so that the little human girl's eyes welled up with tears easily. Even her parents had never given her such a strong sense of security. Lily couldn't help but throw herself into Eugene's arms, well she couldn't reach him. Okay, I'll come again. He immediately turned around and walked out. He did not forget to tease Liu one last time, who had not yet recovered. Eugene moved his fingers. It feels good, thank you, Miss Liu. You are very skilled. The blush on Liu's cheeks that had just faded once again took over the high ground. Outside the door, surrounded by 3 beautiful girls, Eugene got on the carriage. Speaking of which, boss, are we going back next? No. Eugene wiggled his fingers. Butts have to be wiped clean and work has to be done. He smiled meaningfully. Let's go to the headquarters of the Soma Familia. Suma Familia. Lena, who was confused, hugged Eugene's arm and asked, are you going to discuss business with those drunkards? Haha, yes, but this business is only for one-way wins. Following Eugene's instructions, the carriage turned around and headed towards the headquarters of the Soma Familia. During this period, he also specifically asked the coachman to make a circle in front of the mansion. Damn, when did that B************** D go out? The fake black cat Haquan, who couldn't eat or sleep well for several days, had 4 black circles under his eyes. They couldn't enter the mansion, so they had to squat in front of the door. Who knows, Eugene actually came out from another exit. Fortunately, my eyesight is accurate. Otherwise it would be bad. Follow up. The 2 people, who had no idea they were being led, looked at each other and flew on the road. At Chloe's reminder, Eugene also chuckled as the fish took the bait. There is a very common routine in fantasy novels. Drive away tigers and devour wolves. Although the members of the Somo familia are all miscellaneous, they are still a large family with a scale of hundreds. It's really troublesome to rely on Eugene and a few people to clean up. Moreover, Chloe and the others have special status and can easily attract unnecessary attention. The best way is to let the big dog bite the small dog. Over at Terry, it was already the third day of 7 days. He probably hasn't dug out anything useful yet and is in a state of despair. Eugene created a target directly for him this time, and he was not afraid that he would not take action. The members of the familia are complicated, but their strength is not very strong, and they are not unattainable. For Ajin, it is the most suitable partner. I just don't know if those miscellaneous fish under Terry can eat enough for the Somo familia. The war between the powerful dragon and the local snake. It's interesting to think about it. After a while, the headquarters of the Somo family clan. Eugene and others deliberately chose a side door and entered sneakily, deliberately pretending to be an underground joint. The two killers, who thought Eugene was unaware of their tracking, were excited. This old boy is quite clever. He held it in for several days and made sure that he was not being followed before setting off. But it still couldn't be hidden from the eyes of our crouching dragon and phoenix. Out of caution, the two quietly approached the headquarters building and made their final stand in a place with a wider view. Eugene, who was neatly dressed, came to the door of the room of the leader of the clan, winekeeper Channy's Rustella, under the guidance of the waiter. The content further inside is unknown. Do you want to rush in? Fake Black Fist asked sideways. How is it possible, even if they are all trash fish, you are sure that you can lead more than one person to break out of the siege? Just do your job well and leave the rest to Mr. Terry. So, the two found a closer place and continued to squat like sculptures. Inside the house. Please take a seat. The slender, elegant-looking man with glasses is the current backbone of the Somo familia, Channy's Lustra. Eugene knew that this man looked gentle, but in fact he had the face of a human and the heart of a beast. He was an out-and-out black-hearted businessman and slave owner. Because the main god of his family, Soma, is a nerdy and weird god who has no interest in things other than winemaking. Within about 10 years, Channy's was in great power and single-handedly controlled the entire beverage business of the Somo clan. In addition, some underground black channels also passed through his hands. In this circle where they are members of a family in name but in reality have no family ties. He is the real god. You may have doubts. Why can a mere LV2 person be able to convince all kinds of people willingly? The reason lies in wine. The wine brewed by Soma, the god of wine, is not extraordinary. It is a liquid with beauty beyond the ordinary. In itself, for mortals, it not only has a divine experience that transcends taste buds. It is also extremely addictive. It is easy to go from frugality to luxury, but it is difficult to go from luxury to frugality. Once tasted, there is no other taste. Soma's divine wine is not a drug, but a luxury product that people can no longer refuse after experiencing it. In order to taste the divine wine on a regular basis, no matter how bad a murderer he is, he will obediently surrender to Channy's and become his slave in order to get the opportunity to buy it. This is also the reason why, as mentioned before, members of the Somo family are always extremely obsessed with money. They need money to buy alcohol, it's that simple. Because of wine, the whole family gathered together. It was also because of wine that the entire family was in disarray. Soma's divine wine is the core of everything. And if you grasp this core, you will grasp the Somo family. 37A business that both exists and does not exist. As mentioned last time, Channy's controlled the entire family to serve him through divine wine. And Lily is one of them. The small humans are a race with a weak physique, but their average intelligence is more outstanding. Lily is also one of them. Her learning ability, especially financial management, is excellent. So much so that despite being squeezed, he still saved a huge sum of 2 million. And Lily, who is so outstanding, will naturally attract attention. At the beginning, she did not know the sinister nature of people's hearts, so she exposed her talents to Channy's. She thought he was a man of integrity and appreciation of talents. However, the result was that Lily suffered even more miserable oppression. The eagle dog Ganu and others under Channy's would ask Lily for money every 3 days. With such a stable cash machine, Channy's was determined not to let her leave. It wasn't until the protagonist Belle appeared that everything turned around. However, it is no longer necessary to say this. Because Lily has lost the favor of God and is no longer a member of the Somo family. As long as you go through certain adjustments and get rid of your alcohol addiction, then there will be no more involvement in the true sense. Provided that Chinese doesn't take the initiative to cause trouble. Mr. Jin, right. Chinese remained arrogant. You mean, you want to buy my family, Livilia, from me? Eugene nodded and smiled. Yes. As far as I know, Orario does not allow explicit slave trading. Chinese lenses reflected light, and his tone was obviously tentative. Eugene's lips curled up, and he raised his hand to show Chinese the three beauties behind him. Following Eugene's instructions, at this time, Chloe, Noroa, and Lena all showed forced smiles. It's like being coerced. As you can see, I have a little bit of a collecting habit. Eugene's acting skills are very good, and his eyes naturally shine with greed and desire. Miss from the noble family, she is very special and I like her very much. Chinese looked behind Eugene, seeing humans, cat people, and Amazons. Different races, each with extraordinary appearance. Coupled with Eugene's performance, a lot of his doubts were dispelled. In fact, Miss already lives with me. She told me that the noble family will not give up a member easily. But after my inquiries, it seems that this is not the case. At this point, Eugene pretended to knock his knees. Everything has a price, and a being with precious qualities like Miss is naturally of particular value. Make a price. His voice is very confident, and combined with his posture and attire, he looks wealthy at first glance. Haha, you seem to already know how precious Ode is. Chinese sneered, thinking that Eugene already knew about Lily's transformation magic. For some rich people with special hobbies, this magic is simply the best, better than any other magic. The rarer it is, the less you want to let it go. Wouldn't this be easy to handle? The corners of Chanis's mouth turned up, thinking he had caught Eugene. Ode is an old member and a core figure. I'm afraid I can't let go easily. I prepared 10 million. Eugene said something surprising. With this number, you can literally buy slaves by the car on the black market. But now, for a mere small human race, he spent a huge amount of money. This guy seems destined to win. When Chinese saw this, he stopped pretending. 30 million. Deal. Eugene raised his voice and excitedly stepped forward to hold Chanis's hand, as if he was afraid that he would regret it. He took out a check for 10 million as a deposit and promised to sign the contract in 3 days. At that time, Chinese will promise to dissolve the family relationship for Lily. The group of people exchanged pleasantries, and Chinese originally wanted to keep this bad guy for a meal and see if he could expand other business. But Eugene looked eager to go back and report the good news, which made him even more sure of the authenticity of this matter. Out. The two stalkers watched Eugene get on the carriage and leave with satisfaction, and they felt even more confident. This wave is stable. So, El Dorado Leisure Sanctuary, inside the VVIP hall. Terry sat at the card table silently, his face gloomy and his eyes red. The people who dispersed turned upside down all the people and forces that Eugene often came into contact with, causing a lot of friction and causing considerable losses. But even so, I didn't receive any good news for 3 days in a row. Under such torture, Terry had no intention of touching the beauties he bought. Whether playing cards or drinking, it's all the same. With billions of dollars of wealth being manipulated, who can not be anxious? I just can't tell anyone yet. The baby is feeling miserable. It was at this moment that Black Cat and Black Fist, the two men that Telly relied on the most, appeared in front of him. Lord Terry, we have lived up to your expectations. We finally found the forces colluding with Eugene behind the scenes. Marvelous. Terry was ecstatic. Sure enough, at this critical moment, it must be his two old subordinates. Over the years, they have never failed to live up to Turley's respect. Whether it is assassination or security, they have done everything flawlessly. Now, it has brought him hope of life. The dwarf, who had obviously lost a lot of weight, widened his bloodshot eyes and asked through gritted teeth. Who is it? He dared to send an unworthy gangster to his territory to provoke him, and even wanted to dig out his flesh and drink his blood. Who is such a bold guy? The two men, half kneeling in front of their master, once again looked at each other in tacit understanding. The corners of his mouth also evoked the confidence of the Dragon King. Then they spoke at the same time, with firm and loud voices. Summa familia. Chinese Rustella. 38 I want to change my play tonight. The dog-eat-dog fight soon began. The furious Terry has no doubts about the illusion created by Eugene. Under the influence of the information gap, he unilaterally determined the other party's suspicion. There are many members of the Somo family members, and their classes are mixed. The leader, Chinese, is greedy and his men control many black market channels. It couldn't be more convenient to spread the word. Besides, who else could it be? With the mentality that those who want to harm me should not be allowed to stay. Terry released all his hawks and dogs in one go, and all launched an attack on the major strongholds under the command of the Somo Familia. Although the purpose is to inquire about the whereabouts of those evidences, they also vent their anger along the way. Because his eyes were black, Chinese had no idea who he had offended. Both sides simultaneously ignored Eugene. After all, what kind of disturbance can a little person make? After a day, wait for the good news. Those two guys don't show up anymore. When Chloe came to report, Eugene was lying on the bed, enjoying Lena's massage. Telly is a businessman, so it's hard to bring down the family members. In order to prevent the other party from retaliating, we must still put our own safety first. The boss's evil intentions are really bottomless. Nalua fed Eugene fruits very affectionately. I didn't expect that just walking around could cause such a big commotion. Noroa, who has implemented the Mang tactic throughout her life, admired Eugene's operation, but she was also a little in awe. If this offended him, he might not even know how he would die, right? It won't be long. Terry just needs an outlet. When the two of them are almost done fighting and stall, then the game will be self-defeating. Then we won't have to deal with two forces. Nalua shouted and had a headache. Is it that simple? Eugene smiled and said, you can't get to know each other without fighting, but it has to be based on the fact that both sides are good guys. Two vicious dogs fighting each other will hate each other for the rest of their lives. There's no way that these two mean-spirited villains could ever sit together. There are 3 days left until the deadline. During this period, according to the agreed terms, Eugene's account has received transfers of 300 million. This is also to tie down Eugene and prevent him from breaking the contract. As for the remaining 700 million and the 30% equity of the casino, it will be vested at the last minute. The last moment. Eugene's eyes grew colder. He seems to be carefree, but he is always chasing to become stronger. Otherwise, I'm afraid I won't survive the 7-day novice period. If you want to transcend levels and defeat monsters, you really have to get that one. He stood up abruptly, his muscular body with clear lines was full of temptation in the eyes of any woman. Just tonight. He pulled Lena into his arms and rubbed her ears. That gesture made the veteran driver Lena's heart beat wildly, and her chest was throbbing like the first night. Not to mention Chloe and Noroa, both of whom were blushing to their necks. The two girls pretended to be experienced, but Eugene could tell at a glance that you were a virgin. Tonight, I want to try something different. Lena felt this irresistible power and her voice was soft. It's all up to you. The other side. In the underground city. Niunyu Eugene makes his debut. At this moment, he had bid farewell to the upper level and came to the middle level alone. After a day and night of hacking and smoking, Eugene thought that his profits were almost saturated. Most of his skills have exceeded XXX, which is 30 levels of enhancement. Except for hardening and madness, because the armored armadillo and silverback ape are relatively rare monsters, they have not been upgraded to X for the time being. But that's enough. You can't give up the wider melon field behind for a few corns. The 14th floor underground. Call. Raising his hand to attack with a flying knife, Eugene pinned the black hound to the wall with its mouth wide open and about to spit out raging flames. You have caused heavy damage to the target and drained 80% of the opponent's physical strength. Ding. You have completed the loot. Acquire the target's most prominent attribute, Magic plus 50. Acquire the target's most powerful skill, Encirclement V, which can summon other hellhounds to siege the target. Acquire the target's most powerful magic, Fire Breath V, which can spray magic flames over a wide range and long distance. Get all the items dropped by the target, Cerberus Skin, Cerberus Fang, Cerberus Tibia. The monsters in the middle level have a lot of benefits. As he pierced the last hellhound with his spear, Eugene became increasingly satisfied. What he currently lacks most is his magic attribute. As for the hellhound, since it comes with a fire magic, its highest attribute is magic power. With such continuous use, the value has successfully exceeded the 900 mark and reached S level. It's a pity that Eugene couldn't get these dropped materials, so he threw them away. That's the downside of exploring alone, no one to carry your bags. Although it was not a small amount of money, the little money added up, and many of the materials were never seen before. Eugene estimated that he had wasted millions in the past few days. This system space is only 1 cubic meter, and it can be filled to the brim with just one load. In order to deal with the potion sent by Ganu, he drank most of it on the spot. Fortunately, it's not poisonous, but it's just not very effective. Even so, the system space is still filled to the brim. Spare wraps, armor, weapons, and potions. Apart from that, there is not a dime for a piece of magic stone. If we encounter an elite monster and are reluctant to throw away the materials, it will be a disaster. Eugene was speechless for a while. He poured a few more bottles of magic potion and then found a place to rest. As the saying goes, there must be a road before the car reaches the mountain. In this dilemma, Eugene thought about the explosion rate of the previous blind box. The effect of strong luck is always there. The mid-level gift package I received for developing the hidden method of plunder, stealing hearts, has not been touched yet. Eugene moved his body, relaxed his mind and body, and pretended to worship the gods and Buddhas. Then he sat cross-legged on the ground. System, open the intermediate gift bag. His thoughts are clear. When I lacked attack methods, the system thoughtfully provided me with a magic book. Then this time, don't we have to think of something to say? Question mark. Extracting for you. Eugene keeps self-hypnotizing, staying confident, staying confident. Strength is the foundation of self-confidence, and self-confidence is the secret to staying strong. Buzz. You have opened the intermediate gift pack. Eugene slowly opened his eyes. A second ago, he was still a big monkey nervously anticipating the strengthening results. The next second, he curled up his lips and turned into Nike, transforming into Shira Dragon King. You have obtained System Space 10 Cubic, Magic Book 2, Magic Gem 2, Fine Gold 2 kilograms, Mithril 2 kilogram, the hardest metal 2 kilograms, Money 5 kW. With strong luck in hand, I have the world. 39 men should learn to say no properly. Aisha Belka, I guess the full body picture cannot be released, she is worthy of Amazon. In addition to the huge gains, what makes Eugene most happy is naturally the system space that suddenly became abundant. Although 10 cubic meters is not a large space, the system space is automatically densely packed, which means there is no waste of space. This can hold a lot of things. When encountering rarer elite monsters, such as baby dragons or enhanced species, Eugene can accept the materials they drop without any scruples. After wondering for a while, he turned his attention to other gains. Among them, the value of magic books, magic gems, etc. has been introduced. I'm afraid the system is also mindlessly produced, otherwise it wouldn't be so easy to get started with. As for the extra, fine gold. Metal with both high magic conduction and super hardness. If I have to describe it, the magic conduction of mithril is S, the strength of the hardest metal is S, and the fine gold is A+ in both categories. The overall properties are very good, but it is a slightly heavier metal. According to Eugene's understanding, there is no such thing in the Dikua world. But that didn't matter to him. Hellhound balls were something I had never heard of before. Looking at the disposable consumable magic book in his hand, Eugene hesitated for a moment and did not choose to continue developing magic for the time being. The few magic spells he currently has are already very powerful and cannot be used normally. Maybe it can continue to be developed. If you click on a new magic column, you will be a little overwhelmed. Very good. After making space, Eugene felt relaxed. He wielded the mediocre spear, but its durability was increased by 300%, and continued towards the darkness of the dungeon. Even monsters rarely possess magic, and hellhounds are rare examples. Eugene tried to breathe fire. Although the current power is not very good, the hellhound is one of the weakest and most common monsters in the middle level. If there are too many ants, the elephant will be killed, and if the buffs are stacked up, it will become a big move. That's the truth. Leveling up is always boring. So, gentlemen, let's move to the ground. Wow, are you actually coming to a place like this? Boss, you are too horny, meow. Noroa and Chloe followed closely behind Eugene with their heads tied, for fear of falling behind. This kind of place, for women. It's hell. Orario's nights are dominated by drinks and entertainment. Among them, Fengyu Street is the most important. Countless adventurers who fought bloody battles in dungeons didn't even know if there would be a tomorrow. In order to enjoy every day, indulgent pleasure with the opposite S**x has become the norm. This is the world of original sin. This is the paradise of desire. Fengyu Street, controlled by Aista, the goddess of love and beauty, is filled with gorgeous light and decadent atmosphere, making it the most psychedelic scenery in Orario. Beautiful women and men sway their waists here, luring empty people to come. Suck. Eugene took an exaggerated deep breath. Well, throw away all pretense and throw away the breath of reason like a pig or a dog. That's what it smells like. He stepped lightly into this paradise of corruption. The two little bodyguards at the back regretted not joining in the fun. If I had known earlier, I would have just drank at home. Chloe and Nora's ears were burning, and they each grabbed one of Eugene's sleeves and pressed against him. Here, they have become objects that need protection. After decades of development, Fengyu Street is more than just a street. The streets and alleys here are densely packed, and you will get lost if you are not careful. Eugene calmly followed Lena's guidance and turned a few intersections. Finally, he arrived at his destination, Jadong Zephon Pavilion. The women here all come from the far eastern land, the country of Yamato. For Orario, who has a Western fantasy background, she is full of exotic temperament. Eugene wants a scoop. No, the target he is looking for is right here. He looked around and quickly found Lena waving enthusiastically on the street corner. Owner. The girl swooped into Eugene's arms. But Eugene caught her easily, showing no signs of retreating. After escaping Liu's friendship-breaking fist in the hospital, the fact that he is not an ordinary person is revealed. But everyone was very knowledgeable and didn't ask any more questions. This makes Eugene very satisfied. People who have been mixed up in society are different. They are much better at observing words and doing things than that good-for-nothing elf Liu. Fortunately, other jobs were arranged for her. Otherwise, when he came to a place like this, Eugene really didn't know if Liu would go berserk on the spot. Master, I brought my sisters here as you ordered. Lena buried herself in front of Eugene's big breasts and took deep breaths like ***T. Amazons are very energetic day and night, and this is understandable. But Eugene really couldn't spend too much time with her tonight. Hey, Lena. A rather bold voice sounded from the corner. A woman with long, silky hair half covering her eyes, dressed in gorgeous and hot clothes, strode forward, her swaying figure full of charm, and her long legs covered in tulle that made people enchanted. If the women I saw before were all representatives of purity and beauty, then this one in front of me is the complete opposite, a succubus who perfectly conforms to human nature. Is it her? Eugene's eyes swept over every graceful curve of the visitor. Powerful, beautiful, wild. Because she has these three qualities at the same time, she is called Liji. Aisha Belka, deputy leader of the Istar Familia, is a top adventurer in level 3. Without Eugene, he will also participate in important plots of the protagonist group in the future. And while Eugene was admiring Aisha's beauty, the other party also looked Eugene up and down. Oh, no wonder this girl is so obsessed with him. If you just look at his appearance, he is a pretty good man. Aisha's eyes are crooked, charming and sincere, and she won't deceive me. She took a step closer and put her delicate hands on Eugene's shoulders very naturally. What's up, little brother, do you want to explain to me in depth why Lena is so attracted to you? Aisha must have had this conversation countless times. She is slightly older and naturally has more experience than Lena. But Eugene didn't want to make any nonsense about being allergic to panthers. The Amazon is a typical matriarchal tribal society. The most basic concepts are different, so there is nothing to criticize. Okay. Eugene gently held Aisha's hand and rubbed it gently. But, not tonight. With Eugene's current strength, if he really wanted to fight, he would probably be able to fight Aisha for 300 rounds. But the end result is likely to be a lose-lose situation. It's okay to bully Lena who is at level 2. He is a genuine top-level LV3, and he has practiced sleeping skills for many years. When I get promoted to 2nd grade, I will call you daddy. Eugene has temporarily sold out. His gaze turned to the Jadong Pavilion, which was just around the corner. Tonight, I would like to invite another young lady to enjoy the autumn moon together. Her name is Sanjo no Haruhime. 40 The wrong place on the wall, Sanjo no Haruhime. Shibuki, Sanjo no Haruhime. Beauty is here, but I don't know how to cherish it. What's even more outrageous is that Eugene actually named another woman and wanted to chat with him all night long. Any woman would find this an insult to her own charm. But Aisha, who had extremely high self-esteem, did not show any proper reaction. Eugene looked at Jadong Pavilion with particularly fiery eyes. Instead, the wild Livilia couldn't help but show a worried expression. Yes, not dissatisfied, not jealous, not even angry. But worry. In this involuntary Fengyu street, a woman will worry about another woman. What does this situation indicate? They must be friends. But it's not. Aisha always cared about Haruhime like a sister. The girl who came to this foreign country touched the soft heart of Aisha, who looked strong on the outside. You were looking for Haruji. Aisha's beautiful eyebrows frowned slightly, and her eyes were a little wary. Why, can't you? Eugene pretended not to know the relationship between the two and said with a smile. Miss Haruhime, isn't there a sign here? Aisha's hand tightened unconsciously. If possible, she didn't want any man to come into contact with that child, Haruhime. People who come to Fengyu Street are not necessarily bad people, but there are definitely no good people. Haruhime, on the other hand, is just an innocent girl who can't help herself and ends up here. She shouldn't just give her body to strangers like this. Miss Aisha seems worried about how she looks. I understand your concern for the younger generation, but this day is probably a matter of time. As long as she is still a member of Fengyu Street. Eugene took Aisha's hand meaningfully, kissed it lightly, and walked slowly towards the lights of Jadong Pavilion. But Aisha could only look at his back. If Haruhime is just an ordinary girl, then Aisha can naturally stand in front of her, drive away all the people with evil intentions for her, and even take it upon herself to redeem her life. Unfortunately, Haruhime is not. Not only is she extraordinary, she is also considered one of the 3 strongest wall hangers in the world of Earth. Mentioned it before, the secret technique magic she possesses is called level sublimation. It is a magical skill that can allow people to break through a level in a short time and increase their strength dramatically. Its strategic value is extraordinary to the Ishtar familia who obtained her. Because of this, Haruhime's status is different from that of any Changfu. She wears a collar all year round and can never leave the street. Moreover, it is necessary to enter the dungeon with the family expedition from time to time to exert their own strength. All of this is just because she has a value that exceeds her own. It is also commonly known as the child got the gold brick. As long as she has this gold brick, she cannot be free. Even, in order to get the gold bricks, she will be reduced to an accessory, even. Lost life. Creak. Aisha's teeth clenched. She had tried to help Aisha, not once, but many times. Drive away those scoopers for her, and protect her from wind and rain in the underground city. But as Eugene said, as long as she is still in Fengyu Street, she is still in the Aista family. She can never be free. Unfortunately, Aisha could not resist the gods. Ishtar, the goddess of love and beauty, is in charge of desire. Both men and women will become slaves of desire in front of her. She couldn't save Haruhime. And he was brutally punished for excessive interference. Alas, she looked lonely. Lena comforted her. Hello Aisha, the master is a very good person, at least he won't make Haruji uncomfortable. Yeah, Aisha laughed to herself. At least, he is a nice man, and he will surely give her some unforgettable memories. Before she was shattered to pieces by us. Perhaps because he didn't understand why following 2 beauties wasn't enough, the waiter looked at Eugene quite strangely along the way. But in the end, the 3 of them walked through the Japanese-style corridor and arrived at Haruhime's room. Oh, the decoration is very sentimental, NYA. Chloe exclaimed. Eugene also had to admit that Xiaoli did have something in this aspect. Excuse me, are you the adult who will sleep with this little girl tonight? A soft voice came from behind the screen, and the person who opened the light-transmitting door was a blonde girl with fox ears. Yes, Haruhime is a fox. Her red kimono was embroidered with maple leaves, and the necklace on her long neck was eye-catching like an ornament. Those emerald eyes were filled with timidity and melancholy. This posture is reminiscent of a trapped little beast frightened by humans. It is easy to arouse the animal desires deep in people's hearts. Because of this delicate temperament that is both pure and lustful, Haruhime is also nicknamed the astringent fox by her fans. Ah, another beauty. Boss, where did you get so much information about women? Noroa shouted loudly. The fox girl in front of her has skin as beautiful as snow and a beautiful face, perfectly interpreting the characteristics of Xiaojiabiyu. In the original work, this is also a rare top beauty with a goddess-like appearance. Excuse me for your time, girls. Eugene waved his hand, but Roy and Noroa exited the door sensibly. I didn't forget to take a look at the nervous fox girl. My name is Eugene. After Eugene finished speaking, he started to take off his clothes. It's too fast. He took off his suit jacket, handed it to Chunji who was at a loss, and said with a smile, hang it up for me, okay. The fox girl's eyes brightened a little, she stretched out her jade hands to tie the coat, and hung it on the hanger very respectfully and carefully. Miss Haruhime is from the Far East. Eugene sat down cross-legged in a carefree manner, with an inexplicable aristocratic air. It's worth noting that his shirt is not as wide open as usual, but buttoned up neatly. Yes, sir. Haruji nodded respectfully, the snow-white collar of her neck was stunningly beautiful. It's been a long time since I've had Jadong's tea. Miss Haruji, can you make me a pot? Another polite command. However, Haruhime seemed to be more active than at first. After nodding her head, she immediately walked into the room and started to prepare. Well, that's true. Eugene looked at the busy figures in the room and had already made up his mind about Haruji's character. As a child from the East, she was taught to obey the parents. They attach great importance to complicated etiquette and absolutely submit to patriarchal authority. Eugene's commanding tone actually gave Haruji some direction. When she has something to do, she feels more at ease. This was also confirmed in the original work. After Haruhime joins the protagonist's harem, no, the family, her status in the family is a maid. The daily routine is housework. This means that you want to quickly improve this girl's favorability. I have to give her a harsh order. Make her feel like you are her daddy. Thank you for watching. Continue exploring the fascinating world of Chinese novels with us. Hit that subscribe button on Chinese Novel Audiobook to stay updated with our latest stories. And never miss out on a great listen.